That's all I can take of that video.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, guys. We wanted to do this a while ago, but and it was not a bad pivot, but we had some players on the show. This is sports talk therapy. But today, what we're gonna do is we're gonna talk about free agency, and we're gonna pivot into NFL draft predictions. This is our kind of last talk about free agency, other than next week with Ike Packers.
Well, this is like our only talk about free agency with us personally. We just been loaded down with having guests. That's all that basically happened.
Yeah, I did a little on Fun Football on Friday nights, but yeah, we never got to here, which kind of sucked. But let's do this proper. I'm Izac, Fun Football Podcast. We have Prophet Med, who's going to show me the ways of Nicole Hardman. I can't wait for this. I put this on my Facebook.
Your new number one receiver.
I can't wait for this BS. We're going to trash talk a little. Med's feeling himself because he thinks the Bears won the offseason, which they always do. And let's see what that let's see if that translates into regular season victories for once for you guys.
Well, I mean, I think that the Bears, as far as that goes, I think the Bears did very well. I don't know if they won free agency because, whenever you actually talk about free agency, you also have to talk about how teams actually retained their talent as well. So, I mean, there are some teams out there that, for the most part, this free agency was mostly about teams retaining their talent, like the Bengals and the Bills.
Well said. Yeah, that was a lot of free agency, actually. If you're cool with it, I think what we're going to do is, if you're cool with it, I think we should start with our division since we're most familiar with those teams. Okay. And then we can get into some other winners like, the Pats and the Commanders and some losers. I've got a couple fun little awards, but yeah, this should be pretty cool. This is going to be one of our last shows. We're going to be on hiatus after the draft. We've got some stuff next week. We'll be doing a draft show on next Thursday night, and Ike Packers, huge guest, coming on next Monday. But that's enough for previews. Okay, you wanna talk about my fun team that didn't do much again in free agency? Would you like to, since you were teasing it earlier?
Well, I mean, I wasn't really teasing it. I mean, you definitely. I mean, out of all the teams in the NFC East, they were definitely the team that really didn't do as much as anyone else.
Yeah, North.
Yeah, as far as the North goes, I mean, you did bring in Nate Hobbs, which, to be honest, I did actually like that move. You did kind of overpay for him at $12 million per year, but also at the same time, he actually is on the field, whereas Jair Alexander is not. Also, you got Aaron Banks, who, for another kind of, you even admitted that you feel like they overpaid him coming in from San Francisco. But the one that we really kind of joked about the most was when Josh Jacobs talked about, we need a true number one. We need that number one receiver. We need that dog. And you go out and get Mecole Hardman.
Yeah, you got to love it. It's just, okay. I listened to it on Ike Packers. I listened to one of their full shows today. It was pretty good. And they nailed it, man. There's a lack of urgency. There's no owner. And we're content. The Packers have done this. You joke about it, but it's serious. The Packers are content, and this is not going to be a Packers show. We'll just start with them because Med said it on a post today, and he's not wrong. But they overpaid for Aaron Banks. I like the move because you can slide him to guard. Nate Hobbs as a slot corner is great, but if you're putting him outside. Now, I disagree with Ike Packers. I'm ready to move on from Jair Alexander because I'm tired of guys that don't play. I'm over it. Christian Watson, deuces. They never play for us. I want players that can play. I'm tired of injury-prone guys. That's my only problem with Emeka Egbuka. Mecole Hardman isn't going to do anything. He's a return guy for us. I hate that we actually signed a receiver and it was a guy that's going to catch five passes.
We joke about
five passes. It's great. I love it. I did like the Brandon McManus signing, but if that's your moves, I mean, every other team in the division, Minnesota made some risky moves, but they went out and got Jonathan Allen. They got Hargrave, so they loaded up at defensive tackle. They re-signed Byron Murphy. They got Harrison Smith back, and they traded for Jordan Mason, which was slick because they also re-signed Aaron Jones. Thanks, dude. He was the one who talked with me on the Spaces
That's what's up.
last week or the week before. He was really cool. If we were doing a guest show, I would have brought him on, but we needed a just a me and you
We
show.
needed some us time.
I missed you, buddy.
Yeah. Well, we saw each other yesterday, so
We mock drafts. Right? So Minnesota made moves. The Lions, we'll get into them in a minute. But
well, what would you say is your Green Bay Packers grade without being biased? I would give y'all. You're actually being really critical. I actually gave you a C plus because you did address your guard and cornerback issues, and you also brought in Isaiah McDuffie to kind of, solidify the linebacking core, which you didn't really need.
We brought him back, yeah, and we're talking to Isaiah Simmons today, which would be a really interesting depth move. He's actually been not as good as he should have been for the 8th pick overall 5 years ago now, but he would help a little bit. But the reason why I give it a C minus is we didn't address edge rusher or receiver at all.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the positions like if you gave me a list of all the positions and I gave you the same list, you would have said, we need offensive line. What did the Bears do? They hit offensive line. If I gave you a list of all the Packers' needs, guard and corner would have been like 3rd and 4th or 4th and 5th on the list for anybody that watches them. Edge rusher would have been 1, receiver would have been 2, and they didn't do anything with those. That's why I give it a C minus.
And, we could briefly just discuss, like, what would you like to see with the number 1 pick? And me personally, I'm kind of in the same boat as you, where you really need to have that edge rusher. Rashad Gary, I think, was your leading sack artist. I think he had 7 sacks last year, and you could definitely see his play starting to tail down. And Gaines is right. Gridiron Gaines is right. You do need that number 1 receiver, and luckily for you, I believe that this is a deeper receiver draft and also a deep edge rusher draft. So what would you rather they go after first? And be realistic, receiver or edge with the first pick?
Because it's so deep at edge, if Igbuka's gone, while I like Luther Burden, I'd still prefer that route, but I would prefer they go receiver and then edge. That'd be my thing. Just because edge is deep. We've done a ton of these mocks. Receiver isn't quite as deep. I do like James. I like it. I don't think have you seen an edge rusher draft this deep? This is crazy, man.
I haven't seen an edge rusher, running back, or receiver draft this deep. And I mean, it kind of comes and goes because guards, that's not really deep, which is understandable why Banks got paid as much as he did. But you look at the quarterback, there's really only one guy right now that everyone's like, okay, Cam Ward. But then after that, you kind of like, you're looking at what Shedeur Sanders might be doing with the Saints because of, that shoulder injury that he sustained, with the Saints. And then it's like anyone's guess where anyone else is. So, I mean, if you needed a quarterback, it sucks for you. But as far as any other position like edge, receiver, running back, even offensive tackle, I think you're in decent graces right now.
I feel like if the Packers don't hit the edge rusher or receiver, they're not going to go anywhere this season. They're actually going to struggle, I think, to compete for 3rd in the division. They did last year, and y'all are coming. Minnesota really comes down to if J.J. McCarthy can be that guy at quarterback, because the rest of that team is pretty stacked. But y'all made some moves to catch up. And if this doesn't work, y'all are cursed, because you guys extending Gordon was an under the radar move that was slick. You guys made some money moves. What did y'all do? What did the Bears do?
So the Bears basically, they addressed the main situation that they really had, which is they got some steals really with the trading. Joe Tunney, who a lot of people were saying he got beat up in the Super Bowl, he was actually playing out of position. We got him for a 4th round pick. You look at Drew Dalman that we got to a 3-year deal for $42 million. And Jonah Jackson, who is a former Pro Bowler, was brought in for a 1-year deal to basically just say, hey, prove it. And that was for a 6th round pick. So, I mean, the Bears needed to address the offensive line, which they did. They brought in also Grady Jarrett to help kind of give some leadership to the defensive line. It's a very young defense. Kyler Gordon, like you just said, he's good. he kind of is one of the backbone players for that defense. And, it's just a few other players like Zacharias and Devin Dumerly. I mean, those are two decent, like, role-playing receivers. We even got former Vikings legend Case Keenum back. So, yes, and Jalen Johnson is a top 5 cornerback. But
yeah, you guys, I love them. I love the offensive line, the way you all addressed it. It was pinpoint accuracy by your GM, man. Seriously, this was. My only question is the Brady Jarrett move. I don't hate it though. I just wonder if it was a little bit of an overpay. But when you're trying to get out of the draw, you don't. Your team wants to win this year. It's like Washington. They were aggressive for a reason. They saw an opportunity. Bears saw the same opportunity. They were like, we can't let Caleb have 68 sacks again. Like, let him get sacked 68 more times. His career, he won't make it. So, good on Poles, man.
Yeah, no, he probably just got tired of hearing what everyone talks shit about about the fact that he is an offensive lineman, and he just he hasn't really done an outstanding job drafting, but also at the same time, he hasn't really had the draft pick. So, I mean, this is one of the few times where he actually had that. And yes, Duvernay is a heck of a gunner, and he is also a decent hands guy. So,
yeah, he does. I agree. Just stay away from the Steelers. Don't make any trades with the Steelers.
Yeah,
no trades.
Chase.
Okay, so if you're not, so I'm going to throw the question back at you. If you're not being biased, what grade would you give the Bears here?
I'd give them a solid B+. A lot of people would really say an A range because of what they were able to actually accomplish. They accomplished quite a bit. I mean, we're not even talking about Dayo Alday Bingo Bo, another edge rusher that they got in from Indianapolis. But, they addressed a lot of things. They got that veteran, like I said, with Case Keenum, they got that veteran to back up Caleb Williams to kind of give them the ins and outs of what the NFL is, kind of sit them over. You can't really do that with Baggett, who, was in the NFL 1 year more than what Caleb Williams was. We loved him, but also at the same time, you need to have that guy that has already been there, done that. So I would give him a B+.
Okay, I want to hit the rest of the NFC North, and then before we hit another division, I've got a question for you. Okay. What did you think of the Vikings moves? I kind of already hit them. Harrison Smith coming back is great for them, but when we do their mocks, they clearly need a safety. He's getting up there, but he's still awesome. They had some re-signings. They brought back Byron Murphy. I love the defensive tackle moves because if there was a weakness on that defense, that was probably it.
That was one of them.
Getting Allen and Hargrave now, if they hit the secondary, that's going to be interesting. And they already brought back Murphy. And then they bring in Ryan Kelly. They bring in Will Fries, 5-year, $88 million deal, bigger than the guard the Packers brought in. And Rondale Moore, which, they didn't really need a third receiver. Bringing back Aaron Jones after the way he played and then getting Jordan Mason for depth.
I like the Jordan Mason move.
I like it because Jones is still awesome. I think if I were to give you all an A-, I think I'd give the Vikings a B+, but I'd almost say A- because they didn't fall for the Sam Darnold thing. That was smart.
Yeah, no,
they didn't overpay. They didn't overpay for him, and that would have handicapped the team if he played the way he did at the end of last year. That was really smart by the Vikings. So I almost give them an A-. Actually, that was pretty good.
Well, I give them more of a B because a lot of the players that they brought in were aging vets. So they're kind of taking the Patriots way and just kind of blowing it up. You look at like what they have on there. I love the Jordan Mason. I love Jonathan Allen, and I like the Braylon Murphy ads, but also at the same time, Javon Hargrove, he kind of, I wouldn't say he disappeared in San Francisco, but it didn't really feel like he was out there that much. And, Aaron Jones, he had a phenomenal year last year. And if anything, this kind of move with Jordan Mason is going to prolong that for another couple of years. And I mean, they rewarded him with a 2-year deal. He did great on that prove it deal. Harrison Smith, 14 years. I mean, Hitman Harry has just been on one. And, you know, it's just when you look at what he's done and you look at the Vikings and everything like that, you know that they're going to probably have to go with a safety in this draft with the first round. And I'm very big on Eman Mori from South Carolina as far as that goes. I think that he would be the perfect stud for him. I actually comp him to Cam Chancellor, who Sam Darnold ironically went to his old team in Seattle, which there will be sleepless now. And it's just one of those things where you kind of just want to wait and see. I mean, the Ryan Kelly deal was actually a pretty solid one too. And Rondale Moore, let's be real. Since he's been in the NFL, he's been on the milk carton. He's been disappearing
it. Back it up. Had a thing for you. Bears can usually upgrade to an A if you take Tyreek off his hands. I would do it. The Packers need a receiver that bad. Although Tyreek keeps getting in trouble, but I'm so desperate for a receiver, I probably would do it. Actually, hey, that's a.
I agree with that about 100%.
Harrison Smith is today's Eric Weddle. Weddle was such a fun player. Harrison Smith is awesome, man.
Oh, and would back it up to the bench. If you like players from yesteryear, he has 4 really good interviews with Dolphins legends, and he just recently interviewed Stan Volt from the Minnesota Vikings, who played in the Super Bowls back in the 70s.
Hopefully he comes on. We're talking to him about coming on in August to do an all-time receiver draft. Like our top 10 all-time receiver list. Okay, so we did Vikings. The only team we didn't hit.
We're going for the Detroit Lions. We're talking Grit City right here. And I'm actually interested to see what happens with him because they signed Derek Barnes, which was a really good deal. They re-signed Marcus Davenport, which I'll be honest, I didn't really see too much from him in last year. Rock Your-Sin, I'm really more concerned about the fact what is going on their sidelines more than anything. They did bring in Tom. They re-signed Tim Patrick, which I think was a good move. But
Reed, I like that one.
Yeah, no. Oh well, that's a great move right there. He had a great season last year for the Jets. So
they let a corner go, but they upgraded. I think they let go of
Cameron Sutton.
Yeah. And they upgraded to DJ Reed. That was an upgrade. I agree with you though. It just comes down to we're going to find out how important those coordinators were in Detroit. If there was a hope for the rest of the division to catch up to Detroit, like Minnesota, Chicago, Green Bay, if Green Bay hits the draft, Chicago made moves. They still need to make more in the draft. Minnesota comes down to JJ McCarthy, but where the window could be for the rest of the teams in the NFC North is if those 2 losses, which typically hurt, they lost their offensive coordinator to head coaching job in Chicago, and then Aaron Glenn went up to New York. Feel bad for him. I wouldn't have done that. But
no, he just committed career suicide.
Yeah, he won't ever be a head coach again. Sorry, bud. Unless somehow it works. But they're the Jets. They do Jets things.
They do Jets things. And if you want, we can just because you kind of mentioned the Jets, we can go into the AFC East now.
What was your grade on the Lions really quick? I'd say
C+.
If you factor in the coordinators, I'm with you. Like straight moves, maybe a B-.
I think you have to factor in what happened on the sidelines because I mean, I know that they're sitting there and they're like, and if that's the case, you're talking about Dennis Allen being defensive coordinator for Chicago Bears. That's a huge move in itself because the Saints offense sucked, but their defense was good. It had to be good. They weren't doing
I think he's right. I think Aaron Glenn just wanted to go home. He knows his stuff. You're gonna have to remind me. He does stuff for.
I was gonna say he played for him too.
He does stuff with Curious Sports Pulse Media. So, who's one of my favorites, Gridiron Games.
Awesome, we'll be working with them later.
Yep. All right. Yeah. Let's hit the. You want to start with the Jets or do you want to start with the Pats, which is my favorite?
We'll go with the Jets because they, of course, got the former Bear, Justin Fields, and that is really the biggest move that they really did. I mean, re-signing Jamin Sherwood, who just had a breakout season last year. He had 142 tackles for his whole season, which, he more than deserves that 3-year deal that he ended up getting. And then they also brought in Brandon Stevens on a 3-year, 36-year deal. Other than that, though, they and Justin Fields, and of course the coach, there wasn't really a whole ton that they did that really kind of moved the needle for me. I mean,
No, not really.
Andre Cisco came up from Jacksonville. Jermaine Davis re-signed with the Jets. I mean, they, like we said, I do like the Derek Noddy signing though, because he's a decent defensive lineman. But as far as the Jets go, it really hinges on what happens with Justin Fields and with his new offensive coordinator, which will be his, I believe, fourth one since he's been drafted, and that's 5 years. So that's not good. But if he actually can get it together, and he will have Garrett Wilson, he will have Breece Hall, and he doesn't have Conklin anymore, so that really makes me wonder if a lot of people are talking about that Tyler Warren from Penn State might be a target for the Jets in this upcoming draft, because they're going to need a tight end. But as far as free agency goes right now, I would actually say maybe a C+, C, somewhere in there.
I'd go C, because we don't know how, like, if they can't protect Fields and he only has Garrett Wilson to throw to in that line, it was a problem last year with Aaron Rodgers. We both know how I feel. Aaron Rodgers can't really move anymore. Yeah, Fields can move, but he's struggled when he hasn't been protected. And as much as I like Garrett Wilson, they did bring back Lazard, who was solid last year, but he's really just been decent when he's had Rodgers. He needs another weapon at receiver. He needs a weapon at tight end. And I heard a rumor that they were going to go after, this would be crazy. If Genty falls to 7, that they would shop Breece Hall and draft Genty. But I don't know if he's going to fall to 7. I think he'd go at 6.
I mean, I could see it, but at the same time, you look at it, I mean, why?
I mean, yeah, why? Like, Breece Hall is pretty freaking good. If you gave him a line, I think you'd see this kind of Breece Hall thing kind of reminds me of Saquon. I think once he gets to a team that has a line, he's already been pretty good. He's a really good receiving back. Mm-hmm. I think this dude will absolutely bust out if he ever has an offensive line. But this is a good point. He struggles to get through his progressions. Is he going to have it's like the Sam Darnold effect. Is he going to have the support around him to get the best out of him? I don't trust the Jets. It's more about the Jets than Justin Fields, but I do think he could help Breece Hall, because mobile quarterbacks tend to help their running backs.
Yeah. I mean, they have to kind of keep an eye on them. I mean, you're talking about a lot of RPOs at this point where, that is actually where Justin Fields shines. Now, as far as that goes, if you're playing fantasy football, here's a tip: do not get Garrett Wilson right now. He's gonna have a really bad year this year.
Med with his fantasy takes. I love it. No, I agree. No, dude, I would. Last year he was pissing people off, and unless we see it from Fields, I'm with you. Absolutely, dude. Seriously. Also, they lost Devontae. They lost a lot of other players. And as much as we both like Aaron Glenn, I just don't know if he has the squad. They have some impact players on defense, but they got a lot of holes on the line. Yeah, I'm going C. Let's hit the Pats. This team made some interesting moves.
Yes, they did.
Stephon Diggs, 3 years, 69. But really, everything I've heard, effectively, it's a 1-year deal. I believe there's like next to none or like absolutely zero guaranteed money year 2. They signed Mac Hollins, who I'm not huge on, but I mean, it's a depth guy. They re-signed Austin Hooper. Again, I'm not really big on him. They brought in Morgan Moses.
Yeah. He will take that right tackle position. They brought in Garrett Bradbury, who did really well with, I believe he was with the Tennessee Titans. You see a lot of Titans with what they brought in, because of course Vrabel was the Tennessee coach. And of course, every single, like you just said, it's mostly 1-year deals, except for on defense, where they just basically hit every single level of the game. They got Milton Williams, who he got his paycheck. And at some points, a lot of people felt like he was the bona fide impact player for the last 2 games of the Philadelphia's run to the Super Bowl. You look at Robert Spillane, who was a very serviceable linebacker for Las Vegas. Carlton Davis, really good but aging cornerback. I
Still
believe,
solid, yeah.
but still solid. And of course, Harold Landry, who was a pass rush specialist for Tennessee Titans. Overall, I mean, and like you said, Morgan Moses, I'm giving it A minus. I mean, plus the fact that you got Vrabel, who, and I mean, this is looking at it while I'm talking about it. It's definitely feels very Bill Belichick-y, and the fact
Mike
that they
Vrabel,
focused.
Mike Vrabel.
Yeah, I mean, it
Yeah,
was like his.
yeah.
Did the Packs go Graham or Milton or Carter Landry at the edge? Honestly, to be honest,
Oh,
I think that. Oh, thanks, James.
thank you,
Um,
dude.
to be honest, I think
Yeah,
that
what's up
what
with
you're
that?
going to see is you got to protect your investment. And when you protect your investment, you're going to get a left tackle. And the two best left tackles right now are Armand Mimbo and Will Campbell from LSU. And amazingly, both from SEC. I think they're going to do the typical Belichick thing that we've seen for the past 20 years. And they're going to probably get a left tackle. And you need to be able to protect your future franchise quarterback. What better way than to have the two guys that have allowed the fewest sacks in the last 2 years? I think in the 3-year career, or maybe 4 years, that Will Campbell was there, you're talking over 3,000 snaps. He only allowed 4 sacks. So I mean, why not just go ahead and get him? I know they talk about his arm length and everything like that, but if the dude can play, the dude can play. So get your anchor, be blessed for the next 10 years, and then, you can build for your future.
It's funny because I was thinking Abdul Carter, but I do like Will Campbell for them. I don't know about Genty. I mean, Ramondre Stevenson's kind of a one-dimensional back. It's funny because I have him in fantasy. They need playmakers, but there's such a high spot in the second round. If they go land that left tackle, they could hit edge and just completely hit that defensive line in the second round. Or there's going to be a lot of receivers and running backs for them in the second round where they can start getting some playmakers. They
I
already
mean,
got
you got,
Stephon Diggs, but they
yeah,
could
they
get some
got
more
they got
playmakers.
Stephon Diggs. He's coming off an ACL injury. I mean, that's,
It's going to be
let's be
interesting.
real. He's 32. What's he going to do? You're basically.
It's weird because he was great last year, but I'm with you. Like, how often do guys come back off ACLs in their early 30s in the NFL? But he was awesome last year. Like, people forget. You
Until
look
he
at
got hurt.
Yeah, before he got hurt, he was killing it. I wouldn't have done it, but if it's a 1-year deal to see what he's got, I mean, he could do worse. The Packers did nothing. I would rather have an aging dude coming off an ACL than nothing. Sad as
So
that is.
what's your grade on this?
I'm going A- with you, man. I got 3 teams at the top. It's the Bears, Pats, and I'll save it. That last team, I think you know who they are.
I have a good idea who it is.
There's a
Gaines,
couple,
go
actually.
ahead and hit us with a grade 2. We'll pop it up on here
Yeah.
as well. If you want anybody that puts their grades on, we will actually hit it. And the next team that we're going to hit, going Dolphins.
Yeah, let's hit the Dolphins. Good break, man. Hey, by the way, great breakdown.
Yeah, thank you.
That was awesome on the Will Campbell. I love it, man. He the 4 sacks. Whew.
Yeah.
What are the Dolphins doing?
They don't know. I do like
something like what are they doing? What is this?
It's one of those things where you kind of just scratch your head. I do like James Daniels. I think that's a solid move, but the Larry Borom, I mean, he was a backup in Chicago for a reason. And if he's watching people passing by an Olay into his quarterback up there, he's going to do the same thing for concussion Tua down in Miami. And then the fact that I 100% with the culture change, but you're not going to change it with Zach Wilson as your backup quarterback. I mean, that's just going to be you're basically taking an atom bomb and you're placing it right there at the quarterback position. It's going to blow up on you. They might be better off just hoping that maybe get.
Hey, I'm available. I'll play backup quarterback.
Hey, there you Dolphins. Go.
I'm pretty sure it's better than this guy who blames his team when he throws for 90 yards. He says the defense didn't play good enough. Yeah. I don't want that guy anywhere near my team.
No.
Nowhere near them. Sorry to interrupt. Just
No,
Zach
you're
Wilson
good.
is
You're good.
trash.
And I mean, they're bracing for it because they did get Willie Gay Jr., which I am a big Willie Gay Jr. fan. They did. They're trying to protect Tua with some of the positions that they got. I mean, they got 3 offensive linemen, one which think is good with Daniels. They don't have any receivers because they're going to be talking about getting rid of Tyreek Hill. You got Benito Jones, who is a solid signing for you, or re-sign for the defensive line, but also at the same time, he didn't really play that much.
They got a punter.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Hey,
Woo.
I do actually kind of like the Westbrook Akeem signing. He actually was a pretty good deep threat for Tennessee last year. He was a weird fantasy play. A lot of games he'd only get one catch, but that one catch would be for a touchdown. So it's another guy because Tyreek might be slowing down. Not something they need, like you would think they needed, but they didn't have a third receiver last year.
But Tua doesn't really have the arm to really. I mean, it's basically you're looking at what the offense is right now. They got 2 greyhounds on the outside of their offense, and it's like handing the keys of a Lamborghini to your granddad. He's not going to punch the gas. He's not going to be able to get them to where they need to go.
He's the granddad.
Yes, he's extremely accurate from short to intermediate routes, but when he went over to Kansas City 2 years ago and he was trying to throw a damn ice ball towards his receivers, it wasn't going that far. It was going 20 yards and down hard. I'm going to tell you straight out, this team, it's one of the lower ratings I had, but only because of the fact that James Daniels was signed with them and they got Willie Gay. I'm going to say this is a D.
Oh, that's the grade I'm going to. I think the Westbrook Akeem signing was for Zach Wilson because he actually has a bigger arm than Tua, and he's going to be playing because Tua will not be playing all season. So that was for Zach Wilson.
Yeah. And like Grandpa, it's amazing you say Grandpa Tua because let's be real, one more hit and he'll probably be eating his dinners through a straw. So, I mean,
he needs to retire.
And he needs to just retire.
And I don't. Also, can we honestly? I've got to be honest here. I don't trust. Ooh, who's that? Is that?
It's Sam Just. Or is it just Sam?
I don't know. Hi, Sam.
Hi,
Sam. I know. If it's not Sam, C minus. Also, do you trust Mike McDaniels? But you're good. I don't trust Mike McDaniels. I don't really think he's that great of a coach. If
they do not win 6 games, does he get fired?
Absolutely. And they may not because the Pats may make a huge jump. You got the Bills. The Jets suck, but the EFC is pretty tough otherwise. I'd have to see which divisions they play. They'll release the schedule in a few weeks. But
if Zach Wilson is your backup quarterback, I think you would have been better with Mike White, to be honest.
Yeah. You'd be better with Josh Dobbs, who the Pats got.
Yeah.
Anybody over Zach Wilson. I'd rather have Joe Flacco. No joke. For real.
Well, Cleveland has him again. Last team is Buffalo Bills. Now, I'll be honest.
Josh Allen.
Yeah, I was going to say they did a lot of re-signing.
Mm-hmm.
And whenever you have a team that is this close to the Super Bowl, you really just need to tinker with them a little bit. And tinker they did. They brought in Joey Bosa to a 1-year prove-it deal for $12 million, which is a move I am ecstatic for them because I think if Joey Bosa actually stays healthy, this could be the move that actually pushes them over that hump, gets them into the Super Bowl. They also brought in very reliable Michael Hoyt. I think I just said that wrong, but it's all right. Our buddy Mafia members actually just interviewed him 3 weeks ago on his podcast. Yes. Mafia members got a current player.
God, that's what I want to do. I got to figure out how he did that. We just need to start blasting every player on Twitter. Let's just go through the entire NFL until we get one.
Just start finger blasting everyone on Twitter, huh?
Yep. Be like, hey, join Sports Talk Therapy, join Fun Football.
Yeah, no, that's come on out here.
That's great for him.
But yeah, a lot of their moves were re-signings. It's the Sam we know. That is Mr. First Down, ladies and gentlemen.
It's his birthday.
Yeah, man, you're 40. Congratulations. You're in the club. You're on the Over the Hill gang with me. Apparently Isaac is getting there.
He's only 39.
Isaac is getting there.
He's got one more year. Yeah, a kid told me today check this out. Kid told me today, I just dyed it. They told me I need a wig. And I was like,
that's dirty.
Thanks. Yeah, no. And just, she
Ready.
was like, "Are you gonna order me pizza too?" I was like, "No, you just told me I need a wig.
Yeah,
I wasn't gonna
sit down,
anyways, but
kid.
forget you. Sit down. I'm gonna go get my pizza."
100% agree with this, and I think
Um,
he's at least losing once.
oh for sure. I like the
Um,
re-signing of Bernard. I
mhm.
like them bringing in the defensive tackle Ogun Joby, however
Yeah,
you say
that's a
his name.
really low key good move.
That was good. The edge rusher they brought in, Michael, the one you said, they
Mhm.
also brought in Joey Bosa, so they need to hit the defensive line. I'm
And they
not
did.
huge on this one, but they brought in Josh Palmer, and they re-signed Shakir. I thought Shakir was a little much, but he was really good for him last year. And they re-signed Ty Johnson. So, like you said, when you're that close, just tinker with it.
Oh, it's
Oh,
Sam from Shady.
oh, what's up, Shady? Sorry,
Shady.
bud. He's like, oops, wrong
You
Sam.
know which Sam. Evidently, we know more than one Sam. Yeah,
Oops.
no, and I mean, you look at what Shakir has been able to do for the Buffalo Bills. He is pretty much it. I mean, they just, in all honesty, the past two drafts they whiffed. You got Dalton Stonehands Kincaid can't catch a freaking duck for anything to save his life, and then you got Keenan. I can't get separation Coleman that also cannot catch. I mean, the past two first round drafts have been just duds for him. And when Shakir is out there and he's doing his thing and all, he's been pretty much one of my favorite players to watch. I mean, dude's got heart, and I really think that they were going to go out and get another receiver in the first round, and hopefully this might be the dude that actually does what they need him to do. And
Maybe
as
some
far as that
speed.
goes, I think you could see Luther Burden going to
Yeah,
Buffalo.
Because the Packers will probably pass on him stupidly. Um,
There you
I
go,
actually really
McCall
like
Hallman.
him. So he's polarizing. I know his stats went down last year, but if the
That's because of
Packers
the
pass
quarterback.
on, exactly. Yeah, we both know. If the Packers pass on Burden and he busts out somewhere else, and I have to watch this crap again where we don't draft a receiver, and the guys that went right after the Packers are good, I'm gonna be upset. But Keon Coleman, the biggest problem with him, just I don't know if he has the speed. That's what they need. So Golden to the Bills. I don't think Matthew Golden's fallen past 15. I think the Packers would have to trade up for him. I think the lowest he goes is like 20. If Hampton's gone, he goes to Denver at 20. I don't see him getting out of the teens. That'd be it. I think he's
So
going pretty high.
Just a sneak peek in what my 3.0 is going to do. There's
Yeah.
actually a trade from San Francisco to the LA Chargers where the LA Chargers will get in front of the Dallas Cowboys to pick up Matthew Golden as their second receiver.
Heck yes. I like that. That's a good move. Do you want to hit all 32? Or you want to
We could hit all 32 because I don't have shit going on right now. So I mean, if you're
wife's
feeling
gaming.
froggy, let's do it, baby.
The wife's gaming. I think Igbuka, I think Denver as well. I think he may be gone by because I've been scouting receivers and edge rushers heavily. I'm not just like stuck on the receivers. I think Igbuka to Denver makes a lot of sense. I like him. He's a little injury prone, but I think Igbuka, if you're calling Travis Hunter a receiver, I'll just give you a quick breakdown. If Travis Hunter's a receiver, it's Travis Hunter and then either Ted or Golden. And then for me and for a lot of people, I got Igbuka right there. I really like him. He makes a lot of sense for Denver. I hope the Packers can get him. What division you want to hit now, dude? You want to hit the NFC East?
We could go over the North and just real quick on that,
Oh, AFC North?
another sneak peek on Marion Hampton to Denver. I really like that.
If he falls to them, that is freaking gold. Gold.
Mel
Him
Kiper
and Drew Lock,
had
Cortland
Mel
Sutton.
Kiper actually had Hampton going to the Dallas Cowboys.
I
was
could
like,
see it. I actually think he could go 12. And
yeah,
it wouldn't be
I
that
think
big of a
that'll be a
reach.
reach.
Okay. So
North
where's he on your board? Where would you have Hampton? Around 20?
20
Like
to
above the best
25.
players? So yeah, a little bit. It's not like we're gonna see on draft night. We're gonna see a pick or two that we're gonna be like, who is what? Like a fifth rounder they pick in the first. Okay, so AFC North. This is an interesting division. The Bengals. Wow. They shelled out some money to their receivers.
Yeah,
Jamar Chase.
y'all's tickets are about to go up.
Wow.
Your
Like,
tickets are about to go up.
but damn, it's fun. They rebrought Jaceki in, who was really good for them. They re-signed T. Higgins to a 4-year, $150 million deal, but they also get Jamar Chase to 4-year, 160. They're like, all right, Burrow, let's run this back with all the weapons. I love it. They got to hit the rest of the roster. I don't know what they're gonna do with Trey Hendrickson, but they did steal TJ Slayton from the Packers. Low key move. They brought in BJ Hill, 3-year, $33 million deal. So they shelled out for some defensive linemen that weren't Trey
Which
Hendrickson.
they needed.
What they needed, but that must have pissed him off even more. Brought in guard Lucas Patrick, but really their biggest moves, and Oren Burks linebacker, but their biggest moves really were just
keeping their core.
Keeping the core. Brought back Kareem too.
I was going to say that is actually a move right there. I really do like the Kareem move because he gives them a little bit more power when they need it. Right now, you look at what Chase Brown is and what Herbert, who is now with a different team, what they were last year. They didn't really have that guy that could really get that extra yard if they really need it. Like if it was goal line, you got Chase Brown coming out, you're like, no, they're going to throw it. And for the most part, they had to.
It's like your thing, the 3 yards. You need 3 yards. You need 4 yards. He's gonna get you 3 yards.
Exactly.
I agree with Gridiron. They need O-line help. It's insane that they had the reception leader, they had the passing leader, and they had the sacks leader, and they couldn't even make the playoffs. They've got to get better at GM building. Burrow makes a good point. The Eagles have figured out a way to pay everybody. The Bengals need to get a little more creative with the salary cap, for real. That's an interesting grade. What would you say, man?
Actually, it's a B- as well.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
I actually wrote some of these down.
Nice. I'm gonna do them on the fly. I'll go. You know what? I don't think it's the best way to team build, but I'm gonna go and give them a B because the fact that they managed to keep T. Higgins, Jaceki, and they stole Slayton, but they also kept Jamar Chase. That gets a B in my book because they still have a ton of holes. But what were they going to be without those guys? So.
Well, they got to be able to actually stop the ball too. I mean, you can score 40 points, but the other team is scoring 41, and that's their biggest issue. Other than their O-line, I mean, once again, talking about protect your investment, you got a franchise quarterback, you need to actually keep them upright, and they can't do it. And then also at the same time, teams run through them like shit through a goose. I mean, it's just Charmin soft how pathetic their defense was last year. And they brought in, they re-signed Joseph Ossie, but I mean, they really didn't do anything to really adjust it. And really and truthfully, you think about what they're going to do in the draft, and they need to go defense because Trey Hendrickson probably won't be there next year. So
I did like the Slayton move, but that's not enough. That's just one guy. The defensive line actually could be a little bit better because of that. I actually really like Slayton. I was sad we lost him.
I like the BJ Hill move too.
I like the BJ Hill move too, but you got no linebackers. Your secondary is one of the worst 3 in the NFL. They have holes everywhere. But the only reason I give it a B is because what were you gonna? I don't know. I just really like Higgins and Chase together. But yeah, maybe a B- is fair. It's just I think it's fun, but it's not the right way to win.
No, you already. I mean, and Jaceki is a really good tight end. I mean, he's a great receiving tight end in my opinion. And yeah, no, it's a B- for me.
And I like the Perrine move too. That's why it's like you kept a lot of guys I like, and you stole one of my favorite Packer players. So that's why I gave it a B. The Browns, I gotta say, man, them going out and getting Flacco the last few days, I love it because I know he's been trash otherwise, but you've seen what he can do in Cleveland. And Judy was good last year. I like that move, but because if you were going to just roll with Kenny Pickett as your starter, good luck. For real. Like, what do you do?
No.
I disagree. That's a no for me too. As much as I like Byron Murphy, no. T. Higgins is
I think that they need to have, like I said, they need defensive help, but their best defense is their offense right now.
Mm-hmm. So the Browns go get Malik Collins.
Mm-hmm.
They re-signed Myles Garrett to that insane deal. But good for him.
Yeah,
And their biggest move
that's all you
otherwise
can say.
was, other than getting Malik Collins, was bringing in Kenny Pickett. What are
Well,
you
Joe
doing?
Flacco now.
I was happy for them they got Flacco because I think he starts. But the Browns, man, okay, since they got the number 2 pick and their offseason sucked. Other
Sleepy
than,
Joe.
what do you think they do at number 2? Yeah, I love it.
I think they actually go Travis Hunter, to be honest. I
Travis
think,
Knight, I like it.
yeah, I mean, I'm thinking of Reeboks, evidently. No, Travis Hunter, I think, would actually fit really good. And lately, there's been more of a consensus of him actually being on the offensive side of the ball. He is a number one receiver. He can also help you out on the defensive side of the ball. And if that's what the team wants to do, then that's what the team wants to do. But I think at the same time, you look at what they have at the quarterback position. They got a guy who's in his 40s who should be selling insurance right now. Flacco is just one hit away from being on the sideline for the rest of the year. And Kenny Pickett is Kenny Pickett. You know, he can't even hold on to the ball. He has to throw with both hands. You know, it's kind of like watching your kid when they're bowling and they're like sitting there and they like kind of walk up to the lane and they just kind of push it down the, through the little thing and everything like that. But yeah, no. The biggest move, of course, was Myles Garrett, which, let's be real, what does it say when your superstar Hall of Fame defensive end is saying, I don't want to be here, I don't want to be here, and you throw this massive amount of money at him? It's like, you know what? I love it here. You can't let him go, but at the same time, it's not a good look. And I do like Jerome Baker coming in from the Titans, and I do like Devin Bush coming back. And, the defense is definitely going to be there, but it's going to be a different team on the offensive side of the ball. And I think that's what you're going to see them do, is they're going to actually go heavy on the offense, get a decent – what's up, Janae? Get a decent running back in the second round with that high draft pick, or even Mason Taylor from LSU to tight end.
Ooh, that'd be fun.
But yeah, no, they really need to really work on it. Maybe they'll get Kyle McCord towards the end of the draft. We'll see.
That'd be interesting. I agree. I think Travis Hunter's the move. I think he's going to be a stud number 1. And Judy was actually really good for him last year. I agree. I actually think I'm going to go lower than that. I mean, yeah, you brought Garrett back, but when your biggest move other than that is Malik Collins or Kenny Pickett, I'm going to go C-. I'm not very. The problem is this is just free agency grades. They're going to be, if they do this right, they're going to get some of the best players in the draft at number 2. But as of now, I can't give them a passing grade. I got to go C-. I'm thinking about D+, but you did bring back Myles Garrett. So I'll go C- because Garrett's that awesome.
No, I would say C. I think Garrett is, like I said, he's a future Hall of Famer. I like Jerome Baker coming in. I like Devin Bush. The defense is going to be outstanding, but
oh yeah,
who's going to throw the ball? You got Deshaun Watson. He's not getting any massages anymore, so I mean, he's sucked ever since.
I don't think he's supposed to play this year after the ACL. I think he's going to miss the whole season.
So he's doing the same amount of stuff that he did the last 2 years, do nothing.
Yeah, exactly. He's going to get paid to do nothing, and then they might just sit his butt after that. I don't know if they even want him to play. That's got to be the worst trade in NFL history. If it wasn't for the Luka Doncic trade recently, this might be the worst trade in NFL history or in sports history. But I think Luka Doncic wins actually because the Lakers just poached him from the Mavs, and he's a better player than Deshaun. I don't know. Yeah. You're so messy. What? Okay. Steelers. They brought back Mason Rudolph. They don't have a quarterback. Mason Rudolph is their starter unless Aaron Rodgers goes there. He still isn't signed, so we can't report it. They brought Gainwell in to be a backup. They got DK Metcalf for a second-round pick, and then they signed a 4-year, $132 million deal. Nothing else of note on offense. Donald Parham, there's really nothing else on offense. They got Malik Harrison, defensive lineman. They brought in Darius Slay, aging, but they gave him a 1 year, $10 million deal. A couple re-signings, and they brought in safety Juan Thornhill. The biggest moves were Slay and Metcalf, and bringing back Mason Rudolph. I really like the Metcalf move. Yeah, that is his team. So Gridiron, what grade would you give him then? And Med, what are your thoughts?
So they got one of the lower grades. I do like DK Metcalf, but when you don't have anyone that can really throw the ball to him, let's be real. Outside of DK Metcalf and Kenneth Gainwell, which I do like that signing too, there ain't really much else to really sit here and be like, ooh, yeah.
And they lost Harris.
You got John Thornhill, who is getting up there in age. Darius Slay, who's getting up there in age. You got James Pierre, which it really feels like the Pittsburgh Steelers are becoming the new retirement home for a lot of players nowadays, and it's becoming in some ways a graveyard. They need a quarterback, and I know that Jackson Dart is one of those teams that has been tossed around with with what they really want. But I mean, you bring in a player like DK Metcalf, which will help out George Pickens immensely. You now probably have, honestly, second best duo in the NFC North with DK Metcalf and George Pickens. And then, you can't forget about Fairmouth on the bottom. But you also gave him a 4-year, $132 million contract, and you don't have anyone really throwing him the ball. Yes.
I agree.
So D minus, maybe. You're lucky it ain't an F because it is DK Metcalf and Gainwell. Like I said, I like Kenneth Gainwell, but you also lost your identity when you lost Najee Harris.
The only reason I'm going a little higher, I'm gonna go C minus, as Darius Slay was still actually really good last year, but he is like 34, but he was actually really good for Philly. Yeah, they had a lot of other playmakers on that defense. I love the DK Metcalf signing, but they have no plan at quarterback. And if they're rolling the season with Mason Rudolph, this is a worse situation than the Browns at quarterback right now. I'm not a Mason Rudolph fan. If that's your plan, or to hopefully draft a kid, this is a bad plan. You're left with Jalen Warren and Kenneth Gainwell at running back. You do have Pickens and Metcalf, that's good, but the defense was aging last year. The only reason I can't go F or like low D's is because I really like Metcalf and I want him for the Packers. I'm going to go. I just hate this plan of quarterback. I'm going to go D plus. Because that freaking, Tomlin's going to get them to 9-8 somehow. So just, I don't know how, but he's going to do it. I don't know.
I mean,
I'm not big on that one either. I agree with you.
No,
but the Ravens did even less. So
yeah, no, and to be honest, we'll just be real quick. If the Pittsburgh Steelers are ass 1A, then Ravens are ass 1B because they didn't do jack. They brought back Ronnie Staley, and then they got
DeAndre Hopkins,
a Woozy, who's a decent corner, but DeAndre Hopkins should retire. Cooper Brush, who is a decent backup quarter. I mean,
Ronnie Staley is their biggest move. Picard. You know what, dude? I gotta be real with you. I don't like the Steelers' plan, but I'm giving the Ravens a worse grade. They get a D minus for me. They did nothing. Nothing.
Yeah, they got a D minus for me too.
Like I almost went F. The only reason I didn't is Hopkins could be decent as your third, and Stanley was good, but he probably didn't deserve 60 mil. Picard I really like, but that's almost an F. Awuzie is. They need that
getting up there in age.
Yeah, they need that secondary to pan out, and they need Lamar to take a step in the playoffs, or they're not going anywhere. If he keeps playing subpar in the playoffs, the same thing's going to keep happening. And Henry's going to be 31, so I don't really see the long-term plan for the Ravens. They're trying to make this work with Lamar, and they keep. I don't know. We're going to find out. I don't like what they've done so far at all. Like I like what the Packers have done better.
Right.
All right. So we hit 2 AFC divisions. I'm game for whatever division in the NFC. Who do you want to hit? We'll keep bouncing back and forth.
Well, we did the North last time.
We did the North. We did the AFC East. You want to do the NFC East?
Yeah, that's fine.
All right, let's talk about it. So the Washington Commanders, one of my highest grades. I bet it's one of yours. Really like the moves. This was weird. Michael Gallup came out of retirement, but the big moves they made were they brought Noah Brown back. They brought in Debo Samuel. And if he's got any juice left, I like that move a lot. They got their depth guys back at quarterback. They brought Zach Ertz back, who was really good for them. They re-signed John Bates, and they have a rookie tight end from last year. So they got, if either of those other guys develops behind Ertz, they've got it. They're set at tight end. But off of the Debo move and solidifying tight end, they go bring in Laramie Tunzel from the Texans, who had protection issues. What are they doing? Like, I don't understand it. But that's great for the Commanders because all they had to do was give up a fourth, and they got a fourth in Tunzel, and they gave up a third and a seventh. That's not bad at all. Oh, and second and fourths next year. So they gave up a lot of draft capital, but it's Laramie Tunzel. He's one of the better tackles in the league. They brought in guard Nate Herbig, but then on defense they made some moves there. They knew they needed to address it. They brought in Javon Kinlaw. They re-signed Bobby Wagner. Dude, I really like this a lot. They brought in Jonathan Jones. They got Will Harris at safety. This was slick. I like it. I'm wondering if you're as high on them as I am.
What's your grade?
I'm going to go A-.
I'm actually going to go A because I understand why they did it, because you got Jaden Daniels, who was kind of if you watch how he was playing, he had to do a lot of rollouts because the pocket protection wasn't really there. And, you know, they would have had a lot more sacks. This was a team that the year before was threatening the all-time sacks record without the 17th game. And that's why Sam Howell got the crap beat out of him, and he got traded to Seattle because he was broken at that point. I like a lot of the moves they have here. Javon Kinlaw is no Jonathan Allen, but at the same time, still a good move for them to actually try to replace him. Bobby Wagner, like Gridiron Gang said, you know, that's a huge plus for them to retain him. Great leadership. The best move by far is the Laramie Tunzel move. I'm not as big on the Debo Samuel move, and here's why: is that he has underperformed his contract ever since signing it. And the only year that he has had over 1,000 yards receiving, I think he's had 2 maybe. So you could correct me if I'm wrong.
1, actually.
He had 1, and it was his contract year, wasn't it?
Actually, I think it was. He had another year where you combine his rushing and his receiving.
It's over 1,000 yards, yeah. But I mean,
I'm looking. Yeah, 1 year is 1,400 yards. He was over 1,000 total yards in 23, but that's it. So only 2 years over 1,000 total purpose yards. That's it. It's 2021 and 2023.
Oh, that's because Kyle Shanahan liked putting him at running back before they got Christian McCaffrey. It's just, I do like Zach Ertz coming back. That's a good veteran presence. I'm not huge on Marcus. It's probably because he got that pay raise and he was able to eat good afterwards.
Hey, by the way, I didn't tell you. I didn't put this on my Facebook. Next week I am because the guy we're bringing on. But you can let it loose a little bit. I should have said that earlier. I'm sorry. Go ahead. He looked fat.
Yeah. No, I was gonna say. Man, you stole my thunder. I was feeling the roll, and you just like
I had interrupted. Sorry.
But yeah, no, I mean,
I'm gonna eat my cupcake now. You made me
go eat your cupcake, man.
This is for my birthday. It's called a place called Nothing But Cakes. We need to start sponsoring food on here. So this is delicious. This is a lemon blueberry. I'm gonna eat it. Pretty good.
Is it good?
That's my third one of those.
It's your third one? Good. That's nice.
They got me 12. I need to eat them or they're going to go bad.
Would you like me to continue?
Sure.
Okay.
Overall,
A grade. I mean, Trent Scott is also a low-key really good move for offensive tackle. So they got both of their bookends. So there you go. But yeah, KJ Osborne actually came in from the Patriots too, so I do like that. Well, he came back last year, and like you said, Michael Gallup. I have a feeling he's going to be retiring at the end of the year because,
Retiring.
yeah, he's going. He came back just to leave. So
I apologize, by the way. I done so much better. I saw that comment and I was like, let it loose, man. I'm so sorry. I stole your thunder.
let it loose, man. Let's talk about cupcakes.
Let it loose, man. Hey, do you want to talk about my cupcake?
So
Oh,
tasty.
we needed some comedy. You know, it is really, really good. Retired. Yeah.
Retired.
Commander Gridiron gave it a B plus. Thank
Yeah.
you everybody for watching, by the way. We're having a blast.
Yes.
Okay. The Cowboys. This is my favorite. If I had an award for
a team that he likes to dump on.
Isaac's dumper. This is my team. What are you doing? Okay, so I don't want to hear about. Yes, I do like that they signed Osa, however you say his last name, Odigijwa. 4 years, 80 mil. I think it's a little bit of an overpay, but he showed some potential. Good move. Yeah. That's fine. The Packers would have done that too. Maybe a little less, but probably not. They do that crap. They go get Dante Fowler Jr. Not a terrible move. 1 year, 80. 1 year, 8. But they've got money left. The Cowboys are sitting on 37 mil. Packers are annoying me too. They're at almost 30 left. Actually, no, 31. The Cowboys are sitting on 37 mil in cap space, and they're not signing it. They're not
got a Bear fan.
It. Yeah. Oh, we do?
Yeah, Damien.
Oh, Damien. There we go, buddy. What's up? The Pat, you know what? If the Bills stumble, I think the Pats are number 2 right now. I don't see the Dolphins or the Jets. Okay, but back to the Cowboys. They bring in Joe Milton. I actually like that move. Miles Sanders, he's washed. Javonte Williams, if he's going to be your number 1 running back, that's a problem. I think they're planning to draft a guy, so I'm going to give an incomplete grade at running back. Pierce Campbell is your big signing receiver. Love it. Solomon Thomas, they brought him in.
I like that.
That's not bad. Kenneth Murray Jr. They swapped him for a 7th rounder. They got a 7th rounder and they gave up a 6th. That's not terrible. And they got Elam from the Bills. Not a terrible move. There's some low-key decent moves here. And they re-signed Turpin, who was a pretty solid deep threat for them and a good returner. I just don't like the plan at running back or receiver or offensive line at all. But I think that they're going to hit that in the draft. Definitely. I'm expecting both those positions to get hit in the first 3 or 4 rounds. They just have a lot of holes on this roster. So I like Sports SP's question. But let's hit the grades on this one really quick first. Matt, what are you thinking for the Cowboys? I'm thinking C. I don't like the running backs. I don't like the receivers. I'm trying to justify giving them better than a C.
So I gotta kind of talk my way through this. I do like the Kenneth Murray Jr. trade because that solidifies what happened when Van Der Esch was had to retire due to his injury. I do like Peyton Turner coming in from the Saints. That is a solid edge rusher. Dante Fowler, of course, he's getting up there in age. I think he'll be 32 by the end of this year. Paris Campbell is low-key a really good receiver. I think that he'll be a great slot receiver, and you already got CeeDee Lamb right there, so I think that he will actually match up pretty well with him. Miles Sanders and Javonte Williams, congratulations, Dallas. You just made Rico Dowdle look really good now. He turned from regular Rico Dowdle to Barry Sanders just overnight because you got this trash backfield that you just brought in that's not going to do anything for Dak Prescott. You're going to have to draft someone in the NFL draft. First, second, third, you're going to have to probably go ahead and pick nothing but running backs to try to just clean up this mess. It is just like diarrhea in a lot of ways if you look at this because Kelly or Lamb, I mean, he's been on the field only half the time. Eat your cupcake, Isaac. And CJ Goodwin, I mean, he call him toast because his ass was getting burnt all the time. So I'm going to just go ahead and say, yeah, no, I kind of want to go with an F, but I'm going to be nice this time around because there's only one team I think that deserves the F, and it's not the Cowboys, but give them a D.
Also, they have no second receiver. They lost Brandon Cook, so Jalen Tolbert's your second receiver. I'll go D plus. You talked me into D range because I don't like their plan at receiver. Ferguson's okay at tight end, but they have no second receiver. And you nailed it. They let Dowdle go. They could have resigned Dowdle. Just resign Dowdle. He was pretty good last year behind a below average line. Yeah. Bite me, buddy. Bite me. Okay. This is a good question.
Okay, we're going that one first.
Who do you like? I like Igbuka and Burden because I'm not expecting Golden, Tet, or Hunter to be there. And I don't know if they're going to move up.
I think what's going to happen is if you have Luther Burden III at that point, I think you should just go ahead and get him. I know that he kind of has the same kind of body style as Jalen Reed, but I think that he has a much better catch radius than Jalen Reed because if you watch some of his video on YouTube and stuff, which is where we do our scouting, it's one of those deals where I literally saw him fake a guy out looking like he was going to throw the ball in front of him, came back, caught the ball behind him because it is Brady Cook, and he made it look effortless. So me personally, I think if anything, because like he said, Tet and Matthew Golden are going to be gone, I think that you should target Luther Burden III, or even the other one would be Ibuka. But I think that because of injury concerns, I would actually slide a little bit more towards your boy Luther Burden III. Come on down from Mizzou. And as far as the Saints taking a shot at Shedeur Sanders, if you read up on what happened with Derek Carr with his shoulder issues, that kind of came out in the last couple of days. I think you have to at this point because, you got Chris Olave. You're just going to let him just sit there and rot away with Derek Carr, throwing little 10-yard outs to him. I think at this point, you just need to go ahead and take your shot. Shoot your shot, player.
Oh, hey, Rob Thomas.
Hey, follow Rob Thomas.
Go follow him. That's a good point. Cap cuts need money. That adds up to it varies, but it's like 15-ish mil. I agree with you. The Saints got Derek Carr is going to be out, man. They got to do something. Kellen Moore needs a quarterback, so they got to do something. Sorry, Ike was messaging me. He was asking for a later time next week. I'll talk to you about it later.
We don't talk about business during the show.
Sorry, buddy. Okay. Let's talk about another fun team. We'll hit the Eagles last.
We're going Giants then.
What is Joe Shane doing? What is he doing? I don't mean to be mean.
GM Joe.
Did you just want to have the most hilarious quarterback room in NFL history? Here's my award to the Giants. Funniest quarterback room ever. Russell Wilson, Jameis Winston, and Tommy DeVito. Hey. I want a background access camera to that shit show. That's
if there's a time where you actually want to do a Hard Knocks series, this is when you do it.
Oh yeah,
you're going to be eating.
Go back, do it again.
I mean, you're going to be sitting there eating W's with Mr. Unlimited, and while Tommy DeVito is over there making a sandwich. I mean, this is going to probably be the number one, quarterback room right here. I just, dude, it's.
Oh man, I'm getting red in the face just thinking about this. This is great, dude. And also, what are you doing signing Darius Slayton to $12 million a year? The guy's proven nothing. He exceeded like 600 yards in a season, even, but once. I'm gonna look at the guy's stats. I gotta check this out. This is one of the worst contracts I saw in all free agency. I was like, okay, what? So here's Darius Slayton. He's 28 years old. Okay, he's exceeded 700 yards a couple of times. Okay, so his max is 770 yards last year. He is 740, 750, 339. That was a bad year. 724 and 770. So you know what this guy's ceiling is, and you gave him 12 mil a season? Why?
This is the same team that gave Daniel Jones $40 million a season.
Yeah, I mean, good. You know what you want to do? I think you want to make the NFL Be a not that great player in the NFL. I mean, they're all great players, but be a below average NFL player. Go play for the Giants, because if you're not a running back, you're going to get paid. As long as you're not a running back, Joe Shane will pay you. It works.
Yes.
Just land when Joe Shane's there.
And if you're a really good player like
he's gonna get
Saquon
fired.
Barkley, he'll let you go to your rival team.
Even after the owner says, I'm going to
The one team I don't want to see him go to.
Also, what are you doing? You let Xavier McKinney go. I don't mean to just crap on him, because Philly, I like a lot of their moves. Some teams made good moves. We talked about them, but this team didn't. Javon Holland, I love him. Good player. Why would you pay him at safety when you just let McKinney go? And I'm going to be unbiased. I think McKinney's probably better.
Yeah.
I know he signed for more. Holland signed for 15 a year. McKinney signed for 17. So pretty much in the same range. Why not just sign McKinney? Joe Shane, it's just clear as the sky is blue that this guy has absolutely no clue how to be a GM. I don't think Brian Daboll is an amazing coach, but I don't think he's the biggest problem there, even though he didn't develop Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones might just suck. I think Joe Shane's just a terrible GM. And good luck, Giants fans.
So. Yeah, no, they're gonna have that hard reboot after this season, because I don't really think they're gonna really do that much. Now, I do like some of the moves that they did. Paulson Adebo from the Saints, yeah. It's a pretty solid one. I actually do like Javon Holland.
I do. I don't get the philosophy. That's all.
Yeah, no. There's a lot of philosophy here that I don't quite understand, but I mean. Jameis Winston, I actually can see that, because you got Malik Neighbors on one side. Darius Slayton is kind of your burner down the middle. You just really need, and if there's one thing Jameis is going to do, he's going to heave it. He is the charter member of the 30 touchdown, 30 interception club. And I mean, when you have such talent like that, you know that you're going to be, they're in tank mode. I mean, they're just going to they're already tanking right now. Giants fans, I hate to tell you that, but they are tanking right now, because they know that next year there's a chance of them getting Arch Manning, or wouldn't that be something? Have another Manning. Eli Manning already took you to 2 Super Bowls. What can Arch Manning do for you? So, I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
And Daboll is a much better head coach than anyone that can make Daniel Jones and have him become a playoff caliber quarterback for one season is hella impressive. That's like Pete Carroll making Geno Smith a Pro Bowl quarterback for 1 year.
They actually won a playoff game. He deserves a freaking trophy. Yeah, that's about the range I was thinking. No, I agree with you. I do like the Holland signing. I just don't understand it.
He's just trying to make up for what he did. I mean, you let your best player a couple of seasons ago go, who would have probably been able to keep that defense at least solid. So, and then
the running backs aren't the best. Tracy was okay. They don't really have a running back yet. Their receiver room outside Malik Neighbors is questionable.
I think they'll get a running back in the second round.
I agree. I think they're going to go get a receiver too. Tight end, they're a little questionable. Offensive line, they have issues. The defensive line's good. Holland is a good signing. I'll go. I just don't like the quarterbacks. I'm sorry. I'm going to be harsh here. D. I'm going D. You don't sign Russell Wilson to be your starter. D. D+. Fine. Javon Holland's really good. D+. Just because of Javon Holland, that's the only reason they get a D+. You don't sign Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston. That's not a good point.
It's a C for me. C-, I guess. I think Jameis Winston is going to fit exactly. They're going to be fun to watch on offense, because you will not know what's going on with them.
Oh, that's for sure. It's going to be hard to game plan, because it's going to be like, wait, what's going on? I think they'll have a couple of good offensive games, especially if they get another receiver. All right. The defending champion. They did lose some players, but that happens to every Super Bowl champion, but not a lot of them. They only lost, they brought back Zach Bond. They lost Milton Williams. They lost Josh Sweat. They lost Mekhi Becton, and they lost Darius Slay, but Slay was getting older. Not that bad. They brought in a guard. I didn't even realize this. Kenyon Green. They brought in Matt Pryor. They also brought in Kenyon Green. They re-signed Lane Johnson. They re-signed Saquon to a huge deal, 2 years, 41 mil for running back. They brought in Dorian Thompson-Robinson for depth at quarterback. That was slick. They brought in AJ Dillon from the Packers for some depth at running back. They brought in tackle Kendall Lamb. They got an edge Yuki. That was an interesting move. I love the Zach Bond re-signing. They did lose players, but the guys they re-signed were good. They're not just good; they're vital to this team. They're still probably the favorite in the NFL. So it's a weird grade.
I mean, Saquon Barkley, I mean, that they really scraping the bottom with that one. I mean, dude had a 2,000-yard season, and he's still, I mean, a backward hurdle is still just like unreal for me. And the fact that they got Zach Braun, you know, they bet on him. He paid it out in full. This is a guy who was a backup in New Orleans, who is now a superstar in Philly. It's the traditional Rocky movie. It literally feels like that. Like they're on top now. Mm-hmm. And, you know, Josh Sweat, I'm going to be honest, they're not really going to miss much with him because he had a great Super Bowl. You look at what he did previously, he didn't really do that much during the playoffs all the way up into the Super Bowl. He got 2 sacks because you had other players on that defensive line taking the attention away from him. And he cashed out. Arizona bought him for a high price, and they're going to really regret that. And to be honest, I think they're going to regret that quite a bit. But I think Uzi is more than adequate replacement, as is Azeez Ojulari, who is coming in from the Giants again. Wouldn't it be kind of funny to watch him just rack up a career game against the Giants twice this year? So, but like you said, I mean, Kenyon Green, that is a really good move. I'm kind of like foreshadowing who did get the F. But it's you know, AJ Dillon, who is Packer royalty. He is now a Giant as well. And he'll be getting 3-yard carries with no problem this year. So
I'm so sad.
Yeah, I mean, I like DTR also being there. He can actually come in spot, and he kind of reminds me a little bit of a not necessarily Jalen Hurts 2.0, but I would say probably Jalen Hurts light. Oh, and Adoree Jackson.
Yeah, I like that. I am too. You know what?
I am very shocked about that.
The Eagles have 22 mil, which is going to cover their signings. I'm surprised they didn't extend Beckham too, because he didn't even sign for. Was it that much? I felt like he didn't sign for that much. Am I right? What did he sign for? He is 25 years old. He was really good for them. I gotta plug the computer in a second. 2-year, $20 million deal. They could have brought him back, but I think they were thinking they could replace him in the draft. I think that was the thought there. I'm guessing. Which, you know what? I don't hate it. I think the guys they chose to let go and the guys they chose to sign it's another round of Howie Roseman just runs circles around the rest of the NFL. I'm gonna go B because they did lose more than they actually gained, but the guys they re-signed were awesome. So I'll go B. I like it though. I think they're still the favorite in the NFL. I gotta plug this in real quick. What division you want to do now?
We can go to the South because Damian and also Sports PSP have talked about Shedeur Sanders a couple times, so might as well go to the team that seems to be the leader in actually getting them, and that is the New Orleans Saints, because let's be honest, they're not going to be marching in. They're going to be running away.
Yeah, the Saints are the Aints again. They're just moribund. Yeah. This is years of misusing your cap. This is what happens to you. And when you get in business with Derek Carr, don't do it. Just don't do it. Sean Payton, you see how good of a coach he is now. They've been worse off without him. And look how good he was with Denver last year. And they're missing Drew Brees. It's kind of like the Steelers, but they don't have a Mike Tomlin to keep them afloat. They've had Dennis Allen and Derek Carr, one of the worst quarterback coach combos in the NFL. Gotta love it. This team, man. All right, let me hold on.
Well, I mean, you look at, okay, for instance, they drafted Brandon Cooks 10, 11 years ago, and then they bring him back. I mean, they're like, hey, come on back.
And now
Brandon
he can't do
Cooks,
anything.
I wouldn't even say he's a number 2 receiver. And I mean, that is by far their biggest signing. Yes. No, I wouldn't even say with some of the stuff they
that's
do.
mean to the Bucks.
Yeah. I mean,
The
to be
Bucks
honest,
about
Justin Reed, I do like that. I do like Justin Reed being signed as their safety.
Yeah, that's a great one.
After
I love
that, it's a shit
it.
show. It's Chase Young, it's Cam Jordan, who is 15 years black don't crack. He is doing a really good job of really maintaining a decent, not great, decent production and everything like that. But you look at some of the other ones like Jawan Johnson, it feels like they just re-signed him because he was basically Derek Carr's
Buddy.
Yeah, it was like they're trying to
Aaron
relive
Rodgers.
they're trying to relive the Drew Brees Graham hookup. And no, he didn't really do anything that really shocked me. But you look at some of the other ones, that got Davon Goldchow from the Patriots, who, okay, woo. And then you got Chase Young. Okay, so someone that is just kind of there. It's just no Saints. I like Isaac Yadam, but I mean,
I think I'm gonna go
C-, dude.
D+. I'm not impressed. I might go D. This sucks. The only good thing you did was you brought back Chase Young. Cam Jordan's he's my age. He's almost 40. Justin Reed, I mean, I like the Justin Reed signing, but other than that, this is pretty bad. I'm almost willing to go D. This is below average, D+. I gotta give some low grades. I did not give a flat out A. I should have, but yeah, I like the Reed and Young. Young is I agree, but they have a lot of problems. Otherwise, they have not solved. They're getting older at running back. They got problems at receiver outside Shaheed because Olave can't stay healthy. I don't really like what they're doing at tight end. They've got a litany of issues, and I just don't know how they're going to get out of it cap-wise. They're still, hold on, I'm looking at it right now. Somehow they're up to 27 million, but they have 52 dead cap. That's a problem. They've just mismanaged their cap. That's the biggest problem. So, yeah, that's a problem. Okay, let's go to a team. I'm just curious what you think of what the Bucks did. So they re-signed Chris Godwin, 3 years, 66. They brought in Sterling Shepard. They re-signed their guard, Ben Bredesen. I don't know if to say his name right. 3 years, 22. They re-signed Anthony Nelson, 2 year, 10 million. They brought in Hassan Reddick, the guy who doesn't like to play. 1 year, 14 million, incentive laden. Oh no, it's actually 12 million guaranteed. So 1 year prove it deal. They re-signed Levante David, who we talked about earlier. I think he's 35. Brought in Bryce Hall, re-signed him. They brought in Anthony Walker Jr. And they re-signed Greg Gaines. They brought in a tackle, Charlie Hack. So mostly re-signings. It's tough to grade these because, like, just looking at that, I'm not that impressed. But I like where this team is going with Bucky Irving, with Mike Evans, with Jalen McMillan, with obviously with Baker at the helm. If they can just hit on some draft picks on defense, I like their trajectory. That's not an amazing free agency class, though. What are your thoughts? I like that comment. That's a great one.
We're going to have to look at see who's left. I mean, it's pretty much picked clean right at this moment. But after we're done going through this, we'll definitely check that out for you.
Yeah. So, what are your thoughts on the
Bucks? So, I like some of the moves that they did. I mean, Chris Godwin, I think that is a really solid move. Sterling Shepard is a solid. He's a decent slot. He's someone that can catch the ball every now and then. I think the biggest problem they really have is that, on defense, you're kind of wondering what they're trying to do. Levante David is 35 years old. I think if anything, they're going to look to address, find his heir apparent. In the draft. I really like Jahad Campbell from Alabama. I think he would fit any kind of defense perfectly, but I could definitely see him in a Bucs uniform. But Hassan Reddick, who really didn't play last year, in fact, I don't think he even played the year before that. Does he still have that? Is he still the sack master that he was in Philadelphia? This is a completely different defense than what he had. And, I think that they said that the Bucks are one of the younger teams in the league, but I'm sitting there looking at this, and there's a lot of people here that are kind of getting long in the tooth. And,
True story.
it's just one of those deals where, it kind of like what we discussed at the beginning, they're just trying to retain people. Why would you actually re-sign Kyle Trask, who hasn't even thrown a pass? I mean, why?
No,
But
I agree. I agree.
no, it's just
Cheap deal, but yeah, I like the
I would,
Godwin. Yeah, C plus.
I'll go C plus. I mean, I think Levante, yeah, they're just trying to shore up the team, and it's just yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, here's another team. I don't. Maybe you're gonna feel differently. What are the Falcons doing? Do they know what they're doing? I like the Jake Matthews sign. Don't get me wrong. 2 years, 45 million, 38 guaranteed. Like that, but they got Leonard Floyd. That might help their pass rush, but their pass rush was worse than the Packers. It was one of the worst in the NFL. They brought back Kevin King, who was another ex-Packer, not very good. They brought back Mike Hughes, 3-year, 18. They brought back. They got a
Jake
linebacker,
Matthews.
Deblo. Yeah, Jake Matthews, the tackle.
Yeah, they brought him back. I know it
That's
just says signed, but he was a Falcon last year.
that's what I thought. I was like, wasn't he there? So they mostly re-signed people. They brought in Morgan Fox. They didn't do anything to address their pass rush. Their defense is not that great, and they're going to be rolling with Penix. You got Bajan, you got Drake London, you got Kyle Pitts, you got toys on offense. They need another receiver. Actually, I traded him last year, but Mooney was pretty good for him. But I don't know. I just don't know where this team's going. Yeah,
No, I agree with that 100%.
I completely agree with that. I'm not that impressed with their moves, but I like that they brought Matthews back, but I'm not super impressed otherwise. What are you thinking? Also, I'm going to think because we ran a little long. I know we're going to run longer. I'm going to go feed the dog.
Yeah, we're going to definitely run a little bit longer because we're going to do all 32 teams.
So I'll let you run this one, and I'll be back in a minute.
So when I'm talking about these teams and everything like that, you look at, kind of like how he said, they didn't really address the pass rush situation. I think they had 32 sacks last year, 41 year before. You lost your best asset with Grady Jarrett, of course, coming up to the Bears. But really and truthfully, I don't see a whole lot here. You kept Jake Matthews, which you needed to do. Jamal Agnew, who is a really good kick return specialist and slot receiver, did very well down in Jacksonville. Mike Hughes is actually a low-key really good sign, and I do like Devon Diablo. Not many people knew who he was because he was backing up Spillane over in Las Vegas. But overall, I mean, to be honest, I'm giving it probably it's nothing really overwhelming. That it's extremely underwhelming, to be honest. And you don't really you got Mooney, but what do you have past Darnell Mooney at the receiver position? And I guess that's why they brought in Jamal Agnew, because Cardale Hodge, he had his moments, but he wasn't anything spectacular. And they don't have anyone to really put the rush on the passer, which in my opinion would be. You could see if they can go with Mike Green from Marshall, but I think that would be a reach of 15. Or you look at Michael Williams if he actually drops down to that point. I mean, 6'5", 265 pounds, decent pass rusher would actually fit that season, that team pretty well in that system. And yeah, no, I agree with you. C minus. It's going to be a C because it's like. Kind of like what you said about the Raheem Morris. I feel like they had a chance last year to actually get a good coach there, and then they just caught it with two left hands. It's just not one of those deals. But yeah, no, definitely C minus C.
Where you at? Falcons still?
Yeah, no, and we're about to go to the Panthers unless you want to put your grade up for the Falcons.
I'm not that impressed either. I think I'll go C minus. I'm not going to go D plus. I kind of want to. I like the Matthews signing. I like the Floyd bringing him in. That might hit a need for them. But yeah, C minus, almost C plus. I'm not that impressed with it. I like bringing Matthews back, and Hughes is decent. They really got to get a pass rusher. They're not going anywhere. Nice.
What would I do with Kyle Pitts this season or at the end of the season if you're the Falcons? I think I would have actually tried to trade him last year because they drafted him to be a generational player, and he's been anything but. He is basically a bigger receiver. And, at this point, you're looking at what you're having. I think he's coming up on his 5th year. I'm not 100% sure, but do you really want to pay him the money that he's going to be owed for that big ass contract that he has? No. I would just trade him away, try to get a 4th round pick if possible. And, there's some decent tight ends in this draft that you could possibly get. You got Luke Lachey from the Iowa Hawkeyes that me and Isaac both like. You got Mason Taylor. You got Tyler Warren. You got, really and truthfully, I could see you getting Colston Loveland from Michigan. That is a very good possibility in this draft. And he, in my opinion, is a hell of a lot better than what Kyle Pitts is. So, and to think that he actually produced on a Michigan team that was more for running the ball, just speaks kind of volumes. I think Kyle Pitts would do better if he just had a change of scenery. And that's just me being honest. I think it's more on that.
I agree. No, I agree with you. I just don't know where the Falcons are going. It's really going to depend on if Penix can do it. And, that's interesting. I think the 49ers are going to want to keep Brock Purdy.
I would actually keep him.
I would keep him. I know you're rebuilding, and he didn't look as great last year, but I don't know who would have with all that going around him. The Panthers, though, this team did some interesting stuff. They brought back Andy Dalton to back up Bryce Young, who started to flash a little bit. Good move. He's backup. That's a great deal. Brought in Rico Dowdle with Jonathan Brooks towards ACL. So now you got Chuba Hubbard and you got Rico Dowdle.
That's a solid backfield.
That's a pretty good backfield. David Moore, you needed to do more at receiver, but Xavier Legette started to show it. Thielen still is solid for his age. They got to bring in another guy. Tight end Tommy Tremble, this re-signing, it's up to $16 million. I'm a little surprised by that. They do have Jatavian Sanders if he can flash anything. We signed guard Brady Christensen. They re-signed center Austin Corbett. They brought in edge Patrick Jones II on a 2-year deal worth up to $20 million. They brought in, this was interesting. They brought in Tershawn Wharton, 3-year deal worth up to $54 million, $30 million guaranteed. They brought in Bobby Brown III.
That's solidifying at the front line.
Yeah, and then
Reggie Brown he just needs help. And you look at the players that they got. Tershawn Wharton was low key a really good player for Kansas City. Bobby Brown III. I can't remember exactly where he played at, but I mean, still, you're basically you're putting beef
Rams.
there.
He played with the Rams.
Oh, he played with the Rams?
He's 24. He had I'm looking right now at his stuff. He had no sacks last year, 1.5 a sack the year before that. He's a run stopper. He had 42 tackles last year, though, 14 solo. So he's not a pass rusher. He's just a run stuffer.
Which they need.
They need.
Yeah, no, they. Well, I was going to say something, but probably not the best thing for me to say.
JC Horn.
He's talking about the Hunt and the 2 guards that they actually brought in last year.
Yeah, no, they did. JC Horn they did overpay. JC Horn getting one of the biggest deals ever for a corner. I like the safety signing, Trayvon Moehrig.
That is a very good signing.
Deal. This is the way to rebuild. If Bryce Young can be that dude this is one of the winners. They hit on every level other than what they needed to do was hit receiver, but they didn't invest a ton on their O-line this time, but they did last offseason. They just went and spent a ton of money on defense. They didn't hit linebacker, but hitting 2 secondary guys and 2 defensive linemen. I'm gonna go B plus. I really like what they did. I would have given it an A had they hit receiver, and they didn't. But Rico Dowdle was a very slick signing.
I think they're going to hit receiver not in the first round this year, but they have a really good chance, and plus they got such high draft picks going up into the second. No wait, they got the 20th pick in the second round. But I like the J.C. Horton re-signing. He is a leader for that team. And Mike Jackson coming in on a free agent deal. They really have done a lot of good moves, and they're not anything that like sits there and you're like, ooh, wow. But at the same time, you look at these moves. Patrick Jones second signed a 2-year deal up to $20 million. That's another decent edge. I mean, they're building, and if depending on what they decide to do with their defense, I think they should go with defense. I think they were ranked 31st or 32nd. I mean, they were at the bottom last year, but I like a lot of the moves. I'll give them a B.
I like it too. Since we hit the NFC South, let's go hit the AFC South. I'm enjoying this. This is a lot of fun. I want to go in August, if you're game, just me and you one episode, and I want to predict the win totals for the teams because we won't have time to do it before the draft because we'll be on hiatus. So when we come back in August, I want to do one episode. This is an interesting question really quick. I think they do believe Jonathan Brooks isn't going to be back, and they were like, okay, Hubbard's great, but so we don't run him into the ground. Let's have a 2-headed monster and take a little pressure off of Bryce Young. And they invest in that O-line, so I think they want to be a little bit more of a running offense. I think that's smart. You invest on defense in the running game. That's smart. That's what Philly does. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised if Jonathan Brooks is not a Carolina Panther by then.
Yeah, but if he doesn't, he's coming off that ACL. I don't know if he's even going to play this year. All right, AFC South time. So, thinking of what team I want to start with. You know what? If you're cool with it, let's start with the Texans. What are they doing?
Well, they jettisoned their top 2 offensive linemen after CJ Stroud just got 53 sacks. So you bring in Cam Robinson, which is pretty decent, and Trent Brown, which is also all right. But you're looking at a lot different age. You're basically saying that Lermy Tunsil, who is a really good all-pro caliber left tackle, and you're like, you know what? We don't want to pay you no more. Let's just send you somewhere else, and we're going to get plan B is what it really sounds like. But
he's look at five Pro Bowls.
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, you don't get rid of that.
What are you doing? Yeah, he's only 30 years old.
I mean, they lost some of the moves that they've done in the last couple. You look at Greenwood, they brought in Daniel Hunter, who's a little bit older than Greenwood last year. They re-signed him, Daniel Hunter, to a 1-year, $35.6 million extension. You got Mario Edwards, Sheldon Rankins, who's getting up there in age as well. Derek Stingley Jr. turned into a shutdown corner. So I do like that re-signing. And they also got in CJ Gardner-Johnson.
And they re-signed Petrie just a couple days ago. They re-signed their safety Petrie to a 3-year, $30 million deal. So they've actually made some really good moves. They brought in Darby. I just don't like the Larry Tunsil thing, but they signed Hunter to an extension.
Mm-hmm.
They re-signed Edwards, like you said. They brought in EJ Speed. Lincoln Tomlinson on a 1-year, $4 million deal isn't bad. They brought in Ed Ingram. They've made a bunch of trades. They brought in Christian Kirk too.
I was going to say that is the one deal right there that I think really did help them out quite a bit, to be honest, because they got rid of Diggs, and by getting Christian Kirk would basically for nothing, they got him for a 7th-round pick. You could take Tank Dill and move him back into the slot, which is where he's supposed to be. So you got your 2 outside people set, and then you got a slot. So
I don't know if Tank Dell plays this year after that leg injury. It wasn't an ACL, but it was so gruesome. He might not play much this year. That was pretty brutal.
Well, they did get Braxton Berrios too.
Was it an ACL? It was an ACL and MCL.
I can't
It was
remember.
everything, right, dude? It was. Oh my God.
It was like
No,
I'm
that
gonna
was
take it all.
yeah. I think it was like everything. Oh no, okay, yeah, dislocated kneecap and a torn ACL. It's a second major injury. He had a fractured fibula, which I've dealt with my wife. That's terrible. So he total dislocation of the kneecap, and he tore his ACL at the end of the season, and he had damaged ligaments in his knee, other damaged ligaments. I just don't know if he's going to play this year. So the Christian Kirk move is vital for them because they also lost Stephon Diggs. So now they have at least they've got somebody else other than Nico Collins.
I would go with I have to I'm kind of siding with Gaines a little bit on this one. I think
I'm gonna go
no.
C plus because I like the secondary re-signings a lot, and I like the Gardner Johnson move a lot. And they re-signed their own players. I don't love what they did with their O line, but they got Christian Kirk for a bag of chips. I'll go C. I'll go solid C, flat C, flat C.
I'm gonna have to match your C on this one because I do like
I
Derek
almost was
Stingley coming
close, but
back,
yeah.
and I do like
And
Darby.
and Petrie is a great re-signing for them. He was
Mhm.
freaking awesome. That secondary was lethal. Bringing Gardner Johnson in with that secondary is actually really slick. It's just all the other good moves they did, they undid with their old line. You got, Trent Brown. I mean, how old is he now? 50?
50.
Seriously, how old is he? Is this the right Trent Brown from Philly?
32.
Oh no, that's a different one. My bad. Different
Yeah,
Trent
no,
Brown.
it's not the one that we're thinking of. Trent
No,
Brown is
okay,
the one
that's
that
even
was.
worse.
This Trent Brown is from Cincinnati. The Trent Brown I was thinking about also was, I believe, San Francisco. So
Gotcha. Yes, Cam Robinson's only 28 or 29. The other tackle they brought in, and
but
they
I mean,
did get a
you're getting
guard.
older by trading away Tunsil for Cam Robinson. You're stepping back. I mean, what's
Yeah,
that mean? So
they're gonna have to go hit if they go hit O line in the draft though, and solidify this up because they've got Mixon at running back. Then this could be a really scary team because Kirk could play that second receiver spot well if they can protect Stroud. But if they don't want Stroud to have issues again all
it's
season,
only scary because it's in the AFC South.
yeah, for real. Which we're gonna hit the rest of the teams. So you said C,
See, well,
grit.
I'm actually, yeah, I'll go with. God, I'll
You want to
go
go
with
with Gaines, don't you?
I kind of want to go with what Game said, but I'm trying to be different.
The only reason I'm not is because the secondary stuff was very slick. Darby that's a solid little deal. You got a linebacker, Neiman, that's not bad. Speed solid. You re-signed your defensive the defensive lineman you needed to resign, and then bringing Gardner Johnson in, we saw how much of a difference he can make in the right system. That's it. But the offensive line stuff sucks. Okay, so the Colts. This is fun. This is quick too. Daniel Jones, Khalil
F
Herbert.
F. Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
Travarius Ward is their biggest signing. I'm going F.
how
Oh wait,
pissed
I'm
off do
sorry.
you
They got
have to
Cameron.
be if
They
you're
got Cameron
Jonathan
Bynum
Taylor?
too. They got
Huh?
Cameron Bynum too. They got Cameron Bynum too.
They're going to need them. They're never going to be. They're not going to be able to move the ball. They got Daniel Jones backing up Anthony Richardson. I mean, it's garbage one with garbage two. It's just straight diarrhea out there in the field. I don't know what they're thinking.
No.
If I was the Colts, if I was Jonathan Taylor, I'd be like, trade me, just trade me, because you are evidently, as a team, are not committed to winning when you bring in Daniel Jones as our backup. You are committed to just taking a fat deuce right here on the middle of the field in front of our fans every single game. I mean, your big receiver signing is Austin Dolan. If I was Michael Pittman or Jonathan Taylor or any other, I'd be like, hey, look, just get rid of me.
For
Just
real.
trade me away. Your boy Corey Ballantyne, he is going to disappear in Indianapolis. He should have stayed with Green Bay because he's not going to see another W. In fact, I wouldn't be shocked if this team does not win more than 5 games.
Yeah. And I'm sorry about Khalil Herbert. I wasn't a big fan of him anyways, though. He never did much for the Bears. Cameron Bynum's solid. Travarius Ward had flash potential, but he's not like a top 5 corner. I'm going F because you don't sign Daniel Jones to a $14 million deal. Who is signing him to that except for Joe Shane? and he cut him last year. No, I'm going F, man. I'm not just trying to agree with Matt here. I'm going F. I would have said
I
F
mean,
before. We could have both blindly set our grades at the same time.
Travarius Ward basically just signed that is straight up money right there. That is all that is, because you're going to a team that you know is going to be a hot dumpster fire as soon as you walk into it, because the Colts just do not know what they're doing.
No.
And, you know, first off, you draft a freaking project player with the 3rd overall pick because you're impressed with the fact that he can throw the ball 70 yards through the air when he had a 54%. In fact, I want to say it was lower than that. It was like right around 50% completion percentage in Florida in college. It's ass.
Oh, I got you. I got you on this. Richardson hit his career high. All right. Anthony Richardson. This is great. He hit his career high in completion percentage as a rookie with 59.5. Last year, in 11 games, he completed 47.7% of his passes. 47.7. In college, his highest was 59.4. His last year in 12 games was 53.8. So the other one isn't quite fair because he only attempted 64 passes. So, you know, you have one good game, it's going to skew it. So the dude can't complete 60%.
He's not accurate.
Passes. He did that in 4 games.
He's a bigger Michael Vick. That's all he is. He's a bigger Michael Vick.
Yes.
As a cannon.
He's not a quarterback. He's just not. He's not. Like, I know Josh Allen was raw and he developed. I like Shane Steichen. He's not a terrible coach, actually. Oh, you think so? I think the roster.
Anthony Richardson is a quarterback. He's just a doo-doo one.
If he had the right guy to develop him, maybe we'd get more because he's athletic. But no, Gridiron. We don't have time to do this before we go on hiatus. I want to see what happens with the draft, and there'll be some other stuff. Some small. There'll be a couple of huge moves with the franchise tag stuff.
What's it tell you when Gardner Minshew?
We're going to come back and do this over-unders.
What's it tell you when Gardner Minshew, of all players, almost takes you to the playoffs, and your quarterback you got now can't even get you 6 wins?
Well, the good news for him is that the rest of the division that we're about to hit sucks.
Yeah, they're going to go 2-2. So, you know, 5 wins is very possible.
Yeah. You got 6 divisional games.
Anthony Richardson is what I consider a fantasy football darling, and the fact that he is so overrated with what he can do with his legs. The problem is like Cam Newton in his first season in the NFL, he basically learned really quick that he needs to learn how to slide. Anthony Richardson is not going to do that. Nope. He's just going to get lit the F up.
So, as bad as the Colts were, I'm curious where you've got the Jaguars. They signed Nick Mullins.
Ooh.
Jordan Lewis, 3-year, $30 million deal. Eric Murray. You jettison Christian Kirk out of there. Now you just have BTJ. You have Trevor Lawrence, ETN, and BTJ. I love Brian Thomas Jr., so he should ask for a trade now. It'd be the fastest to ever do it. Play 1 year with the team and say, I want out of this dumpster fire. They didn't do anything else of note. I'm not even going to say the names. There's nobody. Bunch of trash linemen. I'm serious. The best moves they made were Jordan Lewis, who I watched from Dallas, and he's okay, and Eric Murray. That's it. You lost Christian Kirk. You have no plan. I'm being overly harsh on this team, but I'm thinking D minus.
The De'Ami Brown game, see, it feels like they actually learned their lesson with Gabe Davis when they gave him a 3-year, $36 million contract last season.
Yes.
They learned their lesson. They signed him to only a 1-year deal with a max value of $12 million.
Yes.
De'Ami Brown, you know, I know a lot of people are like, man, he really lit it up with he had one catch, and of course it was against my Bears, where he really just shocked the world. De'Ami Brown is not him. And I like Nick Mullins. I think that is a solid pickup insurance policy, I guess, for Trevor Lawrence because he's not him either. Hunter Long, I would say, is a decent tight end, but yeah, no, Robert Hensey is a really solid out tackle, but yeah, no, nothing really pops out as far as this goes. What's really sad about this is a team that almost beat the Patriots with Blake Bortles at quarterback not too long ago. It's just you sit here and you're like,
Are they gonna be a team that moves out of Jacksonville is what I'm thinking of? Are they gonna be relocated if they don't figure this out soon? For real.
I don't think they'll move out of Jacksonville. I know that they talked about them possibly going to London. And if that's the case, I would freaking hate that. I don't think that really the NFL should be overseas. I agree. Be honest. And as far as what Gaines is saying, D for the Jags, yeah, no, I agree. I think Mason Graham is probably the best fit for him because they were just running up through him with 134 yards per game. So, I mean, they ranked a solid last. Every foundation has a bottom, and they were right there at the bottom.
Blake Bortles did beat the Steelers. That's true. All right. Sam's team, the Titans, last team in the me too. Last team in the AFC South. They have Will Levis, and they signed Brandon Allen to a quarterback. That's a good move. Tim Boyle, but we all know they're going with Cam Ward. So I can't crap on the quarterback room because they're about to draft Cam Ward, and we're going to find out. Receiver, they got Calvin Ridley. They bring in Van Jefferson, who can burn, but that's all he's got is one move. I do like the Dan Moore Jr. signing, 4 years, 82. Good move. They brought in Zeitler. He's getting up there, but 1 year deal to solidify the guard, which they needed to. They brought in Blake Hance. I've not heard of him. Is that a team re-signing? I think that was a re-signing. Corey Levin, offensive lineman. Then defense, they brought in Lorenzo Carter. They brought in Draymond Jones, 1 year, $8.5 million deal, maximum value of 10. Sebastian Joseph Day, they re-signed him. They signed Cody Barton, 3 year, $1 million. They brought in Xavier Woods. They got a kick. I don't know if that's no, that wasn't their kicker. Joey Sly re-signed their long snapper, and they brought in Johnny Hecker, punter. Interesting. Better than Jacksonville, that's for sure. I don't know if they did. I love Tony Pollard. I like that they addressed their O-line. I wish they addressed more receiver, but they could save that for the draft. They need a little more juice at receiver or tight end. They really do. Like some of the defensive signings, their defense was stellar last year, though, so they really needed to hit on offensive line and skill positions. C plus C.
Well, if you think about what they have, they got Pollard. Yeah, no, he is a horrible signing last year.
Dan Moore didn't have many sacks. Wow.
Yeah, no, the Titans, they just seem to be really good at overpaying people. Look at what they did with Calvin Ridley last year. Pollard actually turned out to be a really good signing for him. And then they got him paired up with Tyjae Spears. So I actually
12 sacks last year. Yeah. Wow. And then he got a big deal. Didn't catch that one. Steelers. Wow.
Yeah.
So okay.
Well, in his defense, let's be real, that was Russell Wilson and Justin Fields as their quarterbacks, and Justin Fields holds the ball forever. So
did Russ, though. He just wants to throw it deep. So it was the same situation with both guys. So that is a little unfair. And they didn't have a lot of skill position talent. I mean, I'm not a big George Pickens fan. I think as a 2 he's better. Okay, so that wasn't great. Zeitler is at his age. I don't hate that deal. They just didn't. Their defense was pretty good last year, though. C minus? I don't know. C? Not great, but not god awful. What do you think?
I'll go with C plus because I do like Xavier Woods, and I do love Cody Barton being signed to a 3-year deal. He did really good over in Denver. Zeitler, I mean, it's obvious what they're doing in the draft. I mean, they brought in Van Jefferson, which you would say that's for speed purposes, but Calvin Ridley is one of the fastest receivers in the league. He just can't catch it. And, but everyone else right here, Drew Mott Jones from Denver. In fact, it just looks like Denver moved over to Nashville. So, but yeah, no, I'd give it a C plus.
Before we move on out of the division, I forgot Ingram did leave the Jags. So that's even worse for them. He went to Denver, which was a really slick move for them because he's still pretty, even though he's like 31, that's a great move for Bo Nix, which we're about to get to, but that's even worse for the Jags. Speaking of Denver, you want to, after you want to pivot to them?
Yeah, we can go ahead and pivot to them. And I mean,
they're a fun team.
You know, the whole thing right there, like you just said, Evan Ingram is the reason why I think Omarion Hampton will be going to the Denver Broncos because they already addressed their tight end issue. So that takes out Colston Loveland from possibly being a Denver Bronco to Omarion Hampton, which they are thirsting for a running back at this point.
I'm just curious if Hampton falls to 20. They may have to move up.
I think they will fall. And if he doesn't,
that's going to be interesting.
If they don't, they got other things they could probably go after. I mean, they still needed a receiver outside to help out with Sutton.
Yeah. Oh, I've got I traded for in fantasy. 46 tackle. God, this is great. Yeah, man, hey, we're having fun. This is awesome, man. Keep throwing the comments in. Sorry, go ahead, man. You're good.
So when we're looking at their team and everything, basically they're just backing up next with 2 quarterback signings. One signing that I really do like, and I'm a big fan of this guy, Dre Greenlaw, is going to get his second shot over in Denver, and I really love that move because when he was paired up with Fred Warner, it was just easily the best 1-2 combo in the NFL as far as linebacker goes. They also will be signed safety Talona Huffenga. And the fact that they were actually able to do this with the simple fact that they have to eat so much dead cap space from the Russell Wilson deal and everything, it's impressive. I honestly thought that they're going to be straight doo-doo last season, and then they turned out to be a playoff team. So with the Denver Broncos, I'm going to go ahead and just say mainly because of the Dre Greenlaw and Evan Ingram. I mean, those 2 are huge signings.
Hufanga, the safety Hufanga, 3 years, 45. Interesting. Wow.
Yeah.
I'm going to give them
a B-. That's
what I'm thinking too. Jared Stidham re-signing him to back up Bo Nix was slick too. Well, I like those little slick moves. Not a lot here, but good team building. They were patient because they have a lot of dead cap money coming off from Russell Wilson. They'll make the big move next year. I think that's exactly what happens. I think Judkins or Henderson goes to the Broncos, maybe at 20 if Hampton's gone. They may not wait.
I don't think Hampton's going to go that low.
I know that teams that could draft him. The Cowboys are the team I'm eyeing. Because if Genty, I'm going to be shocked if Genty lasts to 12. I'll tell you that. But if Genty's gone, if Pet's gone, is Dallas going to swing for the fences with Golden, or are they going to go with Hampton? Because I think they're going running back or receiver. Maybe they pivot and go offensive line, but I think the Cowboys are going to take a running back or receiver at 12. I really do. They need it.
I think they'll go receiver.
You think so? That's the one thing. If they go receiver, then you're right. Hampton could fall because I'll look at the draft order in a minute. But
and if I was Denver, I would just run away from Von Miller. Von Miller's 34 years old now, and he had like 10 sacks out of the 3 seasons that he was over in Buffalo.
Yeah,
he's passed.
Von Miller just turned 36.
Yeah,
and he is done. He actually had a resurgence last year with 6 sacks. He had 0 the year before, 8 the first year at Buffalo. So 14 combined sacks in 3 years. I mean, he was great in that Super Bowl run, but we're talking back to the time Odell Beckham Jr. was great. What is he doing now? He's not even on a team.
Yeah.
That'd be interesting too. Tyler Warren.
What do you have for the Denver Broncos?
I'll go B-. Solid. I like it. I'll go B-. Let's talk the Chiefs. They made a lot of moves. Brought in Gardner Minshew as a backup. Not a huge deal. They re-signed Kareem Hunt. I'm shocked they brought him back. They brought in Elijah Mitchell. So now their running back room is Hunt, Pacheco, and Mitchell. They re-signed Marquise Brown. They re-signed Juju Smith-Schuster. So they've got they let Hopkins go. So at receiver, they got Rashee Rice, Xavier Worthy, and those boys at receiver. They brought in Jalen Moore. They signed him to a 2-year, $30 million deal. They did the non-exclusive tag on Trey Smith. They let Thuney go at guard, which is a big loss. They brought back Omenahu, who I like, and I'm surprised he only signed for $7 million. That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Nick Bolton, they absolutely had to re-sign him. They didn't have a choice. They re-signed Pennell. They re-signed Bolton. That's good. Christian Fulton, 2-year, $20 million deal. That's solid. They signed Mike Edwards, Hunter. This is tough because I did lose a lot. I really hate losing Thuney when your line already sucked. Not a big deal on DeAndre Hopkins. Resign Bolton. What are you thinking?
I think they lost a lot more than what most people think. I think that with Snead leaving that 2 seasons, well, last season was kind of like one of the bricks or chips that are actually starting to fall. This is it's starting to look like it's going to become exactly what salary cap is. And that's where it's going to limit teams from really forming a dynasty. They already have a dynasty, but they're kind of struggling to kind of put it together. It's like trying to make a sandcastle when the water's coming in. And Juju Smith-Schuster is nothing special. He's really and truthfully, I think that they say he's reliable, but I think he's just really a wide receiver 4 on most teams. It's just that the outside of Rice and Marquise Brown, what do they have? Travis Kelce is getting older, so they're going to have to look into possibly find his replacement, even though Noah Gray is no slouch. But Nick Bolton, of course, they had to re-sign him. Christian Fulton also had a decent year last year with them. But there's nothing really. It really feels like it's the beginning of the end in a lot of ways.
It does.
I think that they'll still get to the playoffs, but I think it's going to be a lot harder now.
Yep.
But I would say C+, maybe C.
I really liked what Worthy did at the end of last year. It just depends on if Rice comes back, but Gray is decent, but they really got to get a tight end or another receiver. But frankly, their team low key, you've nailed it on Pacheco. Hunt's kind of washed. I'm not a big Mitchell guy. They might need to go out and get a running back. Take this pressure off of get a starter too. Take this pressure off Mahomes. If Pacheco can't stay healthy, which might be the deal. Yeah, I'm gonna go C+ with you guys. All right, next team. This is an interesting one too. The Chargers brought in Najee Harris, 1-year deal. Max value of 9.25, 5.25 guaranteed. Brought back Mike Williams, not what they needed at receiver, but they at least they've got a building block in Ladd McConkey. Brought in Tyler Conklin. I'm not a huge fan of him, honestly. I never have been. Jalen Rager, he's just a return guy. Trey Lance and Heineke, backup quarterbacks to Herbert. They re-signed their center on a multi-year deal, but never got the specifics. Andre James, they brought him in, or they re-signed him. They got Mekhi Becton. I actually like that. They got him at a friendly deal, too. He could have signed for way more. He was really good with Philly last year. I know he wasn't before, but he was good with Philly. Brought back Khalil Mack, but let Joey Bosa go. Interesting. Hopefully they let their tight end go. That lost them the playoff game because that guy sucked. Naquan Jones. I'm looking for the big deals. They got Elijah Molden, 3-year, $18 million deal. Another corner, Dante Jackson. I know you might not agree. I thought the Najee Harris was perfect for what they want to do with Harbaugh. They want to be a power running team.
I agree with that.
He's a dude who's gonna only get around 4 yards of carry, but he can handle a heavy workload, and that's what Harbaugh wants. You might get his best season with Harbaugh with that rushing attack. They just need more weapons at on the offensive side, and on the defensive side, they got to revamp the edge rush because they let
Joey.
They let Bosa go. So I don't hate it. I don't love it. What are you thinking?
I actually like a lot more of the moves that they did. I think Taylor Heineke is a pretty decent re-signing as far as being the backup. Najee Harris fits that bell cow type mentality that Jim Harbaugh really wants. Now the receivers, not really crazy about him. Mike Williams will play 5 games before he blows out another ACL or something like that. In
Yeah.
fact, I'm pretty sure that his knees are plastic at this point. Tyler Conklin, I'll be honest, I'm a little higher on him than you are, and I wouldn't be surprised if he actually surprises a lot of people in fantasy next year.
Well, I mean, he's going to be better than the tight end that helped lose that playoff game. I can't even remember that guy's name. He was terrible. When he dropped the important pass, and then the one that was a pick six. It was bad. I agree. The Najee Harris is the thing that bumps it for me, and it fits what Harbaugh wants. And they went out and got Mekhi Becton. That's totally a Harbaugh move right there.
And they revamped their secondary too. I mean, Asante Samuel Jr., there's a reason why he still doesn't have a team right now. And they went out and got Dante Jackson, who is a decent corner. Denzel Perryman had a solid year last year. Elijah Molden really is more of a safety. So to see him here as a cornerback kind of confuses me a little bit, but it is what it is. But no, I definitely will say I'm going with a B because I have a good idea that they will be looking at finally getting another receiver in the first round to complement Lade McConkley. So I'm going to go B.
I like the team building. I'll go B with you. It's not amazing. I was thinking B minus. I'll go B though, because I really like getting Mekhi Becton and Najee Harris. That pairing is Harbaugh, and that takes more pressure off of Herbert, and you've got Ladd. So you've got the foundation building here. I like it. All right. Last team in the AFC West, and then we got one more division. Geno Smith, your favorite boy. I actually have him in Dynasty as a backup, which is a problem. But hey, at least he's got Monster. He's got him coming in. He's got a running back. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. Although I do actually like Monster, but he's like 33. You re-signed Max Crosby. That's huge. You got Brock Bowers. You still have Jacoby Myers at receiver. You need another one. They brought Alex Kappa in. Max Crosby signs that huge deal. You've still got Christian Wilkins. They let Nate Hobbs go. They swapped corners with the Packers. They got Eric Stokes from the Packers. Jeremy Chin, 2-year deal, safety. They gave an extension to Palomao. Devin White, they brought him in. That was interesting. Landon Roberts, one little small deal. Brought in a defensive lineman. Brought him Adam Butler. They re-signed him. And they re-signed Malcolm Kuntz. Interesting moves. I just don't love Geno. But at least you got Brock Bowers to throw the ball to, and you got Max Crosby on the other side. I don't love the team building, but you got to get some points for Max Crosby. He's awesome. B minus. I just don't love Geno, but it's hard because I like Crosby. So.
I like Crosby. I actually am a Christian Wilkins fan too. I do like him. I just think that they have him in the wrong spot. They need to move him back to the inside.
Yes,
Adam Butler is a solid re-sign, as is Malcolm Kuntz. They're kind of going with some of the players that actually made a difference from them. Now, of course, they lost a couple of those players. I think Spillum is going to be one of those players that they're going to really miss. But Geno Smith, in my honest opinion, he's going to have more interception. The one plus is that Pete Carroll made him a Pro Bowl quarterback, so I can sort of see what Gridiron Gaines is saying right here with them being a sneaky playoff team. At the same time, it's Geno Smith. I just don't see it, especially in that division where they're going to be going up against Kansas City Chiefs, who is on decline, this Chargers, who are in an incline. And, it's just – and of the Broncos. I mean, that is like how we talked about the NFC North being a top tier division. You could say the same thing about the AFC West.
Yes,
it's just so loaded, and it's going to remain loaded because next year they're going to get their quarterback. Mm-hmm. You could go ahead and thank your boy Antonio Pierce for just basically screwing that franchise, because he was sitting there talking about we don't lose to get in the draft. You do. You do. Sometimes you got to go ahead and just take the medicine and just run with it. So I'm going to go with a C plus simply because they kept the players that they needed to, but they're still going to be booty when it comes down to it.
We also should have factored in coaches. I do think Pete Carroll's going to give them more stability at coach. He can't be worse than
Definitely.
Pierce. So I'll go B minus because Carroll, even at his age, I think he'll stabilize the front office, which is what they needed. And Brady's has input now. And if they go land Ashton Genty, whoo-wee, with Brock Bowers and Genty, Gino will be having a field day if they land anybody at receiver, but they won't even necessarily need it because if Genty's half the player I think he is, they've got Bowers, maybe the best freaking tight end in the league already, one of them.
He's up there.
He's up there.
I would say he is the best right now.
I'd like to see more than one season, but damn, he was good. So if they hit this draft, they could be a lot of fun, and maybe Gridiron, if they land some playmakers on offense, they can sneak towards the playoffs. We'll see. All right, last division. I'm having fun. I'm just a little sleepy. I know it's 10 o'clock your time, and I've got state testing tomorrow.
Nice.
I'm not reading. It's going to be just wonderful.
Last division, though. Thanks for hanging out with us, Gridiron Gains.
333 other people. Appreciate it.
No, thanks for Justin Tesler. Hey, if y'all have anything y'all want to ask us, go by all means, go ahead and put it in there.
If we have the energy to do the remaining free agents at the end, we will. Like who's left, like Amari Cooper. But all right, let's talk about your Cardinals. You teased them earlier. They go and get Josh Sweat. I'm from there. I lived in Arizona for 20 years. I like the Calais Campbell, even though he's like my age. I think he's like 39.
Interesting thing is he was drafted by the Cardinals.
Mm-hmm. And he's still as strong as heck, and he actually is a solid. He actually kind of fits a need for them. They need guys that can stop the run. They brought in Delvin Tomlinson, 2-year, $29 million deal. They spent a fortune on that defensive line. Calais Campbell, 5.5. Josh Sweat, 4-year deal for 76. And Collier. And then they also re-signed Baron Browning. That is 9,500. That's over $130 million in that defensive line. But they needed to because their line sucked. Evan Brown at guard. Tackle Jake Curran. Calvin Beecham, tackle. Trey McBride, they gave him 4 years, 76. Maybe a little early, but he's awesome. Jacoby Brissett was a slick little signing because Kyler Murray sucks. So this could actually push him because Kyler Murray is my least favorite player in the NFL. Whenever Call of Duty comes out, this guy is not on it. I didn't draft Marvin Harrison Jr. because he got drafted by Arizona. That's a lie. I didn't draft him in Dynasty because of that. I took a flyer on him in one other league, but I passed him in Dynasty and I had a chance. I could have gone for him, but I was worried about Kyler Murray, and look what happened. He was up and down anyways. But off of that, they got Davis Gaither, linebacker, Mikel Walker, and then a long snapper. So they were like, we're going to pay for defensive line. They went out and got Zay Jones. They'll re-sign their tight end. And Jacoby Brissett, very interesting. Overpay on Josh Sweat, but otherwise, what do you think?
I'm thinking C plus right now by just looking at some of these moves. They definitely understand that to really have a good pass rush, and you hear me say it all the time, you have to have for a good pass defense, you have to have a great pass rush. And, they were nowhere near anywhere as far as defense goes. Of course, Robinson, who was brought in from Mizzou last year, didn't really play that much. He was hurt a good percentage of the time. They already had an edge rusher right there. I'm kind of, looking at what they did, they got a good rotation right here. I think they're trying to keep people fresh on the defensive line so they can uptake that pressure. But the biggest problem that I have outside of Trey McBride, who else do they really have on the offense? I mean, they do have Marvin Harrison Jr., but he didn't blow everyone away like they thought he would. Zay Jones had a decent season. You got James Conner, who is steady, but not the greatest. I mean, and you got Trey Benson eventually is going to take over that top spot. So, and I like the ageless Calais Campbell. I think that is a really good signing right there. He could play anywhere on the line. So I'll give it a C plus.
I'll go C+2. I like that they hit a defensive line. If Josh Sweat plays up to his potential, this can go way up. And you lock down Trey McBride, it's good. I just don't trust a team with Kyler Murray as your quarterback. I would trade him, but they've locked him in, so that sucks. The Rams. I like that they got Stafford back. I really like the Devontae Adams. He's aging way better than Cooper Kupp. He was still really good with the Jets last year. He didn't drop off much with the Raiders, and that was dysfunction. Still, I think next to Nakua, he's going to be awesome. Ronnie Rivers, no big deal there. Garoppolo, they brought him back to back up Stafford. They need somebody younger that can stay healthy, but at least you got Stafford back. Tutu Atwell to be your slot receiver. Re-signed their tackle Jackson to a 3-year, $57 million deal.
That's a good move.
Center Coleman Shelton. Puna Ford, they signed him. Defensive lineman, 29.6. They re-signed a defensive tackle, linebacker, and they re-signed Witherspoon. So the big moves were getting Stafford back and Devontae Adams, which I think was very slick. I think they need another running back. They did grab Blake Corum, but I don't know how last year in the draft, I don't know if he's big enough in the NFL. And that's the same problem you already have with Kyron Williams. So
yeah, Kyron Williams ain't even 200 pounds.
No, they got to get somebody bigger, and that helps take the pressure off Stafford. But you took a lot of pressure off him getting Devontae Adams to pair with Nakua. That's pretty slick. Thinking because you brought your quarterback back, I gotta give that, and I like him still, and he's almost beat the Eagles in the playoffs. I think I'm gonna go B-.
It's like we're yeah, no, definitely Justin.
Oh, I didn't even see it. I didn't see it. I didn't. I was looking at
I was actually thinking B- too. I'm just waiting for Matthew Stafford's arm to just fall off because
he's
he is just
throwing.
Yeah, I mean, it's he's a great quarterback. He's a future Hall of Famer, in my opinion. I know some people say he's borderline. I think he will actually get in. Maybe not first ballot, but he will get there. Devontae Adams, like you said, that is a huge signing right there. Really slick. Tutu Atwell is someone they had to bring back. I think that whenever I play Madden 25, I usually target Tutu Atwell, if that'll tell you something. Puna Ford.
I gotta play some more Madden.
Yeah. Puna Ford is that's low-key a really good signing too. I think that with that defense, how it was able to come. I mean, this is a team that was really just one drive away from putting the Eagles out.
Yep.
That's how close it was. They pushed them to the brink.
It's kind of funny. The Eagles' path to the Super Bowl, the Packers played them okay, not super tough, but decent. The Rams pushed them the hardest, and then they just throttled the Commanders and Chiefs. It's funny how their first two opponents were Packers were in that game. I mean, they were never really threatening, but they didn't get demolished. Their defense played great. They just couldn't score any points. But the Rams got going in the second half and almost, like you said, put them out. So I think that was good. They made one last push with Stafford. I do think there's a chance to take a quarterback. I just don't know if this is the draft to do it.
I think it's possible. I could actually see Jackson Dart going there because you got the retirement home already built up over there. So, I mean, both guys are over their 30s. I mean, I think Garoppolo is 34, 35, and then Stafford's 36. So I could actually see him going for one. But I'll give it a B.
We got to save the Seahawks for last because I got to demolish them. The 49ers. Mac Jones, you know what? As a backup, I don't hate it. They brought back Juice Check, or however you say his name, the fullback. Great deal. That guy's awesome. He's a 49er.
Juice. Just say Juice.
Juice. Demarcus Robinson, they signed him. I don't get it because you let Debo go and Brandon Ayuk is coming off an injury. Who knows what he's going to be. You need Ricky Pearsall to pan, or you got to get somebody else. Their receivers are pretty weak. I think they're going to be a running team with McCaffrey and Garendo if McCaffrey's healthy, and they can use Garendo proved he can handle a workload. I don't get this Luke Farrell signing. Maybe I'm missing something. What?
He was a backup. And,
why is he getting 3 years, 20?
I don't know. I'm trying.
You got Kittle. Just don't. Some of these teams just throw money around, and it's like, just don't. Just say they've been
So
good.
so
I
for
don't get it.
so for everyone out there right now, this is a man that has for his 4-year career in Jacksonville 36 receptions for 318 yards and 0 touchdowns. Is that a $20 million player to you?
No, they didn't do much on defense. They got Trey Brown. They signed him. They did nothing on defense. They were a team that had to. They're in rebuild. We don't know what they're going to do with. It really comes down to McCaffrey comes back. They do have a week. Uh, they haven't released the schedule, but the two divisions they're playing are weak. So there's a chance they could exceed expectations, but they got to really hit this draft. I don't really like this what they did here at all, except for Juice. They lost a lot. They lost Greenlaw. They lost Debo. I'm thinking D plus. I really don't like this at all. They did nothing on defense. They lost Hargrave too. D plus. Just on free agency, I disagree with Gridirons on this one. I think they lost too much for it to be a C for me. What are you thinking?
F.
F.
It's just
Yeah.
it's Greenlaw is gone, Hargrove is gone. You got all these players that really kind of it just went right. Just basically, it just once again you just deuced out in the field. And the Luke Flarrell thing, 20 million for a backup tight end is just I kind of want to see if they see something. I love John Lynch as a GM. That's the crazy thing. I think he's done a phenomenal job over there. I mean, hell, he's been to the Super Bowl 3 times since he's been GM there, but he hasn't won. And it's because of stuff like this.
Yeah.
This
is when Howie Roseman's running laps.
I understand why they got Demarcus Robinson and Debo Samuel. That is 100% a salary cut move. But you got to think these guys are a year older. They've been beat up quite a bit lately. You lost your best running back with Jordan Mason going to the Vikings. Christian McCaffrey, we're actually wondering if he can actually have a full season healthy again because y'all ride him like Seabiscuit every year. You got Mac Jones over here, and then you're talking about earlier with Brock Purdy possibly getting traded to the Steelers, which I don't think will happen, but stranger shit has happened. And I mean, they lost so many key players, key backups. It's an F. It's an F.
Fair enough.
Mean, you're going to tell me that Luke Gifford is going to be someone that can replace a Dre Greenlaw? There ain't no damn way.
I'm going to shock you with my grade on this last team. The Seattle Seahawks.
You going to give it an A?
I might give it an F. They signed Sam Darnold to a 3-year, $100 million deal. You overpaid Cooper Kupp. Valdez-Scantling can't do anything. DeMarcus Lawrence is aging, and you gave him $42 million. I don't love it. Jaron Reed, you re-signed. I like that. And Ernest Jones, I like that one. John Charles, who was that? I really don't like their moves. And I don't think you have the systems in place to support Darnold. You've done nothing on your offensive line again. And while I like DeMarcus Lawrence, he's not even close to worth up to $42 million anymore. I like Jaron Reed, but you took a massive step back from DK Metcalf to Cooper Kupp. And this is not Minnesota. Sam Darnold's going to struggle. I don't trust the coach. The defense has got a lot of problems. I really don't like this, what they did. I'm giving it an F. Might be too harsh, but I'm not a fan of it at all. Mainly because of what you have around Sam Darnold. That's my last grade. What are you thinking with the Seahawks? I'm not a fan at all. I agree. Money was a problem for the 49ers.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Definitely. And that's the way the salary cap works now.
Yeah. Worse in the NBA now, actually.
So, yeah. Jerome Reed and it's just one of those deals where you kind of just look at what they did. This is a possible F as well. I'm trying to really fill it out. Cooper Kupp, is he going to play 3 games? Is he going to play 2? Is he going to play 1? I mean, is he even going to play? I mean, he's just – I love Cooper Kupp. I liked what he was able to do when he was able to do it, but he can't do it anymore.
Exactly.
And like the saying goes, athletes die twice because they have to realize that they can't do it anymore. And Cooper Kupp's about to learn that he can't do it anymore.
Yep.
I don't even know who River Craft is.
John might be another
MVS
Matt
cannot catch a.
Flynn. Oh, yeah.
No, I agree with that 100% too. Darnold will be a Matt Flynn.
That's why it's-
MVS, he's so bad. He can't catch a cold, let alone a ball. Josh Jones, that's a solid signing for $4.75 million. I mean, Sam Darnold's about to get racked, but it's all good. DeMarcus Lawrence, you're going to see the next 3 years be some of the most brutal 3 years for the Seattle franchise that they've seen in the last 20 years. And it sucks because, I mean, the fans up there, they deserve better than this. And, and they're going to realize how much Pete Carroll meant to that franchise.
Yep. And
an F plus. There, I'll make it a little prettier.
That was fun, man. We ran through all 32 teams. We did it.
A little horse. Good job.
We're going to have 2 more long shows in the next 10 days. We got our mock draft, the 3-rounder, and then the NFL draft, the 1st rounder. But that was fun.
We also are having a first round watch party.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll be watching the first round. Hopefully we'll be able to stay up for the whole thing. And
the Packers pick at 23. I'll just take a nap after that.
Yeah. Yeah. And what do you think about pick number 24, Isaac? Oh.
I'm asleep. More. He wants more. I love it. Okay, so here's what we got coming up. Then I just confirmed it. It looks like. So we got Saturday, most likely. We will confirm the date. I have a show Friday. I'll let you guys know by then. We're going to be doing our second annual 3-round mock draft. We're hoping to get 8 guys, but we're going to do a full 3-round, all live, no trades, mock draft. It's going to be a blast, most likely Saturday night. Next Monday, we got Ike Packers, one of the biggest Packer podcasts in the world, is coming on the show, hopefully at 8 o'clock. I'm locking that down, trying to lock that down now. I was trying during the show. He thought it was tonight. Just that's what I was going to tell you, Matt, because I know we're going to both go to bed after this. And by the way, Gridiron, thank you for hanging out. That was a blast.
Yeah, thank you, dude.
If a spot opens up for Saturday, if your game, it might, because I haven't gotten all the confirmations I need yet. So I'll hit you up if we need you.
Yeah, definitely keep us in touch.
Yeah, he's really cool. The Spaces was fun with him. Justin, thank you for watching.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Janae, I know Back It Up binge watched. There's a lot of comments. This was awesome. I love that people stayed on with us for almost 2.5 hours.
2.5 hours. This is the longest show we've done in a long time.
Yes, it is.
So, and even Sam Shady came up on here.
Yes, he did. I missed out going to Lambeau. Anybody going to Lambeau? I'm jealous. Congratulations. I wish I was. I should have just done it, but it is what it is.
Remember to take a couple pictures of Caleb's crib.
Yeah. The place he'll never win again. Because he's still not going to have an offensive line. Somehow it's not going to work.
It's going to work.
Like Med said, we're going to have our watch party next Thursday. And then this Friday night, I'm going to have Jones come on. We're going to talk a little NBA, a lot of NFL, and try to get Millie Goats to come on with us. I'll let y'all know. That'll be cool. And if not, Med, if you want to just hang out with me again.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. I mean, next week is going to be a little bit busier for me because I will be releasing my last mock draft, hopefully this Sunday. I will also be doing a mock draft with not just Isaac, but I will be doing one with the Sports Truth podcast. Go ahead and check them out. We'll have Cheese at Football Cheese on there. So you got a Packer again. You got a guy from Stadium Rant coming on there, as well as Curious Sports Pulse, who I've already worked with a couple times. I will be taking the NFC East and NFC South teams.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Like it, dude.
So cool. we'll see what happens.
Also, go check out our mock draft rivals series. Let us know who's winning, and we appreciate everybody watching.
I mean, we know who's winning.
Yeah,
it's not the Packers.
Well, I'm not typically
down, baby.
Packers. I'm winning this sucker. All right. Anything else, bud? That was fun.
Oh man, it was peachy. I apologize for the fact that I had to take my shirt off. My wife does not want to cut on the air conditioner, so I got. If you're hearing a lot of wind right now, it's because I got a lot of fans on me. So
He's like, all right. Oh, yeah, man. We'll be doing more. And then we'll be on hiatus after the draft for the summer, but we'll be back this fall for sure. So we might have some more news for you guys soon too. So all right, cool. Well, we'll see you guys soon. Thank you for watching. This was awesome. Med, great show, dude.
oh, thank you. Well,
Oh,
let's go ahead and just eat some W's.
and thank you to the 358 people watching. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
All right. We'll see you guys again soon.
Hasta luego.